What's up, guys? It is Modern Craftsman Monday.
Monday. I feel like it should be like a blue Monday.
Blue Monday?
Yeah, I feel like Monday.
Is it the second episode after the New Year? I don't even know. Yeah. Obviously, because we're recording it on the 5th, and it's coming out next week.
Yeah.
All right. We're off to a great start, guys. We also don't have a guest. We also don't have a guest today. But we talk. I bet the majority of you guys listening have experienced a pretty interesting year. And the one thing that we dig into pretty heavily is the fact that many of us are in this industry and probably question on a regular basis as to why we put our customers first and our family maybe second, if not third, fourth, fifth, and what that has done to our mental health.
I feel like I know that this is a very honest, open, raw podcast. Definitely a different tone on this one. I think it's some commiserating and also just, kind of talking what's on our mind. I hope nobody gets too depressed,
This is an old school episode. This is where we talk amongst the three of us.
Yeah.
No BS. No audience.
Yeah, it was nice. It was definitely 3 hours of therapy. Right? 3 hours
And you guys will have
minutes.
to stick around because John gives us an update as to when his house will be finished.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah. We're holding you to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just something else to stress over.
Well, speaking of that, talk is cheap. The folks at Duration will tell you that their best customers is someone who bought their product 18 months or 2 years ago, installed it, and then circled back to see how the product and their craftsmanship performed during the seasons. If you're serious about your work, take a serious look at Duration. To learn more about Duration Polyash products, please visit their website at durationmillwork.com. Well, no guests this week, but we're...
Seriously, what's up with that?
I don't know. Well, you pretended like I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
I
was like, is this dude serious?
I wanted to be sassy and be like, I wasn't paying attention. I just missed it. And I was like, really?
I was like,
I'm sure you did.
Yesterday, I was going to round one up, and Tyler was like, oh, it will just be the three of us.
Dress for the slide,
sure
not the ride.
100%. It's right above where you said, what do you mean there's no guest?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's on there.
But so
dress for the slide, not the ride.
I have never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know where you came up with that one.
Do you ride motorcycles?
No. Oh, I get it now. I didn't realize it was a motorcycle.
Do you have on a cardigan?
Me?
Yeah.
No, it's a button-up shirt.
Not me. I got a pullover.
Maybe it's just the hat is throwing me.
The hat's throwing you off.
Nick didn't want to take shit for like another podcast about wearing the deep V. And
I have
showing
it
so
on.
much skin. I know. That's why you put the shirt on the top.
They're comfortable. I bought this hat thinking I'd wear it because I thought Marley looked cool in it.
What brand
You
is
bought
it?
that hat?
Yeah. It's Ape and
What is
Bird.
Oh.
Oh, this is a Cottingham. That's why I was giving you shit.
Oh, no.
This is Cottingham Co.
No, this
I'm
is
still waiting for my hinges to be, my hardware to be.
Hold on a sec.
all something else.
Happy New Year. Just turned 35.
Seriously.
Yeah, happy birthday.
What's going on with you?
Oh, yeah, what's up?
I wanna make some changes. Not like New Year changes.
Life.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if we ever got into it before, but this summer when I was out in my shop at the end of the day, I blew a cabinet out that I had made with MDF and walked inside to eat dinner and ended up going into anaphylactic shock, which is like basically a severe allergic reaction. Like kids have peanut allergies. And I've never had it before. I've never been allergic to anything other than, as you guys probably hear on the podcast, I have terrible lungs, like seasonal allergies. I'm basically allergic to everything you can be allergic to as far as light allergies, seasonal allergies go. But I don't have like food allergies or allergies to medicine or anything like that. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, went into anaphylactic shock. I got like super nauseous. That's how it starts. And then my eyes, I can like feel my eyes glaze over. And then pretty much immediately my throat starts to close up. And I like when I swallow, it actually hurts. It feels like you're swallowing chemicals. And then you wheeze, like you can't breathe. And it's such a loud, audible wheeze that it sounds like somebody who has emphysema, who's smoked their entire life. So the first time it happened, I had no idea what the heck was happening because nothing like this has ever happened to me in my life. I took Benadryl. Actually, we didn't have Benadryl, so I told my wife, I was like, we need to go get Benadryl. I won't be able to make it until you get back from CVS, and CVS is right down the street. So I got in the car with her. We loaded the girls up. I chewed like 2 or 3 Benadryl, and I was like, I think we have to go to the hospital. I don't know what the heck's happening. And she drove me to the emergency room. I got in the emergency room. They gave me epinephrine, which is like an EpiPen. They gave me steroids, and they gave me more Benadryl, and got me stabilized. And then my entire body, I watched from like my feet to my head get hives. Like I watched them form and go up my entire body. And then after about an hour or so, I was able to breathe again, and they kept me for a couple more hours and gave me more epinephrine, more Benadryl, and once I was like stable and there was no signs of the allergy anymore, they let me go. And I didn't know what it was from, and I still don't know what it was from. I thought maybe it was formaldehyde from the MDF, which it could have still been. But I didn't eat anything. I was going in to eat dinner, and I worked with that same cabinet inside of a closet 2 days later because I was like, I want to see if this is what did it. So I went like in this little closet and sanded it in there. Didn't have any issues. So they gave me an EpiPen. Kind of forgot about it entirely until on the night before New Year's Eve. I was working late to try and close out a job. I was out in the shop. I cut like 4 small 11-inch by 11-inch pieces of plywood, edge banded them, sanded the by hand, broke the edges of the edge banding, and then came inside at probably 12:30 a.m. and put 2 coats of water-based polyurethane that I use all the time on them, and went up to bed. And it was like 1:30, around 2:30 in the morning, I felt sick to my stomach, nauseous. So I got up to go to the bathroom and sat down, and my eyes started glazing over, and I was like, oh no, it's happening again. So I woke Rachel up, had her grab my EpiPen. I'd never actually used an EpiPen before. I've used, like, they give you a tester with it. And like everyone told me it was going to hurt really badly because you're supposed to jam it into your muscle in your thigh. So I'm sitting in the bathroom. I put it into my thigh and it doesn't hurt at all. And I'm like, you have to hold it in there, I think, for like 6 seconds or something. And it releases a certain amount, like a 6 milligram dose or 3 milligram dose into your leg. And I pull it off my leg, and Rachel's like, well, did it work? And I'm like, I don't know if it worked. And I try and push the needle out again, and the needle won't come out. And I'm like, maybe I did it wrong. And like in the heat of the moment, it says it on the test tube, but not on the actual one. And it's smart. You use it once, and then it locks out so that you can't stab anyone or like inject yourself again. As John's light's blinking. So I was like, I don't know if it worked. And I was like, go get my other EpiPen. So she runs downstairs. My keys aren't where they're supposed to be. So she comes upstairs crying, like, why don't you put your effing keys where they're supposed to be? I can't get it. Because at this point, like, I'm wheezing badly. I can't breathe. And I'm just, like, sitting in the bathroom on a stool. And she ends up getting the other one. And I do it again. And I was like, yeah, it definitely worked the first time. It doesn't come back out. And I was like, all right. So I gave myself like twice the amount of epinephrine, which doesn't really do anything. It's basically, I mean, it does do something. It's basically like adrenaline. So it's like you're not going to overdose on it. You know, they say like you can take it every 5-10 minutes or something like that. You can take 3 milligrams if need be. So I also didn't realize that an EpiPen is supposed to be used to get you to the hospital, to buy you enough time to get to the hospital.
Not a solution.
Yeah, I was like under the assumption that, you know, it takes care of your allergy and you can like ride it out. So I took it. I got hives really bad immediately. So I guess they say when you have these allergy attacks, that like they get progressively worse with each one. So I don't know. It's when all of this is happening, you're not necessarily in your right mindset. I was running on like no sleep. Thank you. So thanks. I'm like sitting there and I take the second EpiPen and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ride this out because this is gonna be fine. I know what's going on now. I've had this before. I'll take Benadryl and I lay down in bed. My hives are really bad. I like can't sleep because my entire body's itchy. And that wasn't the case the first time. They like came on later and went away really quickly. So I kind of laid in bed. I was like in and out of sleep. And around 5:30, I wake up to being pretty much violently ill. Like, which end do I put on the toilet? Do I have diarrhea? Do I throw up? So I like run into the bathroom and I'm in there and getting sick. And all of a sudden I just like, I had, like this entire rush come over me and pretty much just like passed out. I was kind of there, kind of not, but I told Rich, I was like, you got to call 911. I don't really know what's happening. So I guess what happens is when the epinephrine wears off, you'll like, a lot of times you'll get a second round of the allergy. So that's what was happening. And, I like the only thing that made me feel better was laying on our tile floor because it was super cold. So I like took my shirt off and I was pretty much out of it on the tile floor. They sent paramedics here first. They came upstairs and then carried me downstairs. And at this point downstairs, I was like, it was super weird, but my body was just like shaking really badly. Like I couldn't control it, and it was more than shivering. So they checked my blood pressure and everything like seemed to be stable, but I was having like still a really bad allergic reaction. So they got me basically prepped, and then when the ambulance got here, they put me in the ambulance. They gave me an IV with steroids in like a port, and then they brought me to the emergency room, and at that point they like gave me more epinephrine, more Benadryl, and then I stayed there for like 6 hours until I got stabilized. And then they sent me on my way. And so, super long story. Again, don't know what caused it. I'd eaten around like 6 p.m. So, you know, this happened at 2:30 in the morning. I hadn't sanded anything but the wood for a couple of hours, and it was oak plywood that I had worked with prior in the week, that I worked with after that. I wasn't really sanding anything. It was like 4 cuts on the table saw. Again, I'd made a top out of it that like I put a nosing on sanding. Nothing it didn't really make sense. The only thing that both times this happened, my body, I was running on like no sleep, and working really long hours. So they think that maybe I'm having a minor allergic reaction, that my body's just like shot and reacting magnified, kind of the reaction that's happening. So this time, the last time I thought it was a fluke. This time, obviously, there's some issue, but my kids were home. And it was right before Christmas, and like my daughters were in bed, and Rachel was really upset and crying, and like the girls watched me get carted out of the house in a stretcher. So mentally, this one really, like, the next day I was super emotional. I was watching like Christmas movies, crying and crap. Like, I couldn't keep it together. Somebody posted something on Facebook about like some dude who grew up in a bad town and then went back to that town and coached football, and I like was pretty much bawling watching it. So this one, it obviously physically took a toll on me, but mentally it just like, it was a bummer. It like kind of made me reevaluate what I'm doing, how hard I'm working, why I'm doing it, the reasons behind it, why we're in New Jersey, why I'm putting my customers and work and everything before my own health and my own family. So I think it was just like a huge awakening for me. And Rachel and I started talking about options. You know, we probably have to make a change with something. I shouldn't be working the way that I am. You know, I'm capped out with what I can do. Do I want to put all of this effort into having more of a business, having employees, or like running bigger jobs and subbing stuff out? So basically there needs to be some sort of a change for health reasons. And I mean, like, life isn't about just working, pleasing customers, putting them first, putting, 20-hour days in, to make sure that people have Christmas the way that they anticipated. And, something has to give, something has to change. And I guess we're kind of discussing right now, do we put that effort for change into kind of the life that we already have where we are, or we've never necessarily wanted to be in New Jersey other than for family reasons, which is a big reason, but is that a big enough reason for health, for lifestyle for the girls? And we're kind of like, maybe it's now or never. Maybe it's a good time to kind of start over. Rachel's somewhat limited as to what she can make at her position because there's not a lot of companies in the Philadelphia area that she could work for. There's a lot of job opportunities elsewhere that would take a little bit of heat off of me. So right now we're kind of looking at what opportunities she could have for work, where those potential opportunities could be, and then circling back on what I could do, what would work for me, going to work for somebody. This is all speculation. Nothing may change. We may still be in the same. Yeah, I mean, we may be in the same place next year, and I just like structure myself differently, or mentally can unplug from things and have a healthier lifestyle. But
that's gonna be tough though. That unplugging part.
Yeah, it's
getting harder and harder.
It is, yeah. And like, but I guess it's not like scary. I'm not afraid that this is going to happen again. Like, I haven't even made an appointment with the allergist, which, I should have already.
Rach must love that.
Yeah. But I'm like, I ended up taking a couple of days off after the holiday and spending time with the girls and just like reevaluating life, what we're doing and why we're doing it. And like, you get in this cycle of just going through the motions and putting in the effort and just making it happen, and job after job, and they take longer and you're trying to make up time. And it's like, holy crap, what was I just doing for the past 8 months? Like,
it's like that scenario where like you're driving home and then you get home and you're like, did I kill somebody?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how I got here. And I feel like that's work for my wife. We didn't have a traumatic situation like you, Ty, but like my wife was like, what are you doing this for? And I'm like, just give me another 6 months. We're making some moves where I can, because it's like, yeah, you can take 3 days off after New Year's, but like, what if you came home 2 hours early for the last month?
Yep.
Would that be the same impact on the job? That's where my head's at, where it's like, all right, why can't you do this? And for the first time now that, I think I asked this in a previous podcast, and it's like, when do you think, when you put all these people in place, when do you feel comfortable enough that you can then pull back a little bit, you know? And like Benny and I, like, I don't know how you two do it, because you don't have like a Benny. Like every day I talk to him every day, and it's like, this makes it, there's a security blanket there, you know, where it's like, all right, if I can't make it, like when I got sick, Benny just went and handled it, and the team made it happen, and that was a huge thing for me. But now it's like, all right, it's really weird. I don't know if this makes sense, but like, I almost never put myself first. And it's like I said to my wife the other day, now that Benny's moved into a different position and the team's kind of all working together with processes, that it's like everyone's kind of doing it for vintage. Like, you're not carrying the whole weight of the whole thing, and having to always push that momentum button, like getting it going. It's like, this can actually work. Like, I can stay home this morning and do paperwork, where every day it's always like, I'm not going to get enough done today, even when I leave the house. And I'm super optimistic. Like, I'm lying to myself when I wake up that this is going to be a good day. We're good. Just hammer out all this stuff, and it'll never happen. Then you come home disappointed. And that's what eats away at me.
Yeah, my stomach is in my throat every single day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I find myself, even at work, I've been mentally trying to relax some, where like I never relax. So I'm telling myself, like, instead of having that feeling in you where it's like you got to go, like I'm sitting there doing something today and I'm trying to hold a chisel and like my hand's shaking, and there's no reason my hand should be shaking. I'm just so wound up because I'm like trying to get a certain amount done for the day. The podcast is tonight, and I like want to hit a certain, and I'm like, well, what if I don't get that done today? You know, right? So I got done fitting 3 of the 100-year-old doors and adjusting all the stops and like setting up the whole job, and so I didn't do one door. And like normally I would stay to get it done because I'm like, you know, I was gonna get done all 4 doors today, and I'm like questioning why the heck I'm doing all of that, like how I'm structuring business. What, you know, this past job, I wanted to get it done by Christmas, because that was just like what I wanted to do for them. And it was days where I didn't want that to affect anyone else. So I'd have Ryan go home, and then I'd stay another 4, 5, 6 hours, you know, probably over the course of 3 weeks, 3, 4 nights out of those weeks, I would stay till like 8, 9, 10 o'clock trying to get stuff done. And I'm like, why? It doesn't make any sense.
But it's for everyone else, and I think that's why you value appreciation when someone appreciates it, because it is a huge burden, and it's painful. I mean, I look at it where it used to be execution I worried about, or timing and all that. Now it's like, you know, did you review that thing? Like, I texted one of my guys today. I'm like, hey, remember that vent that we didn't like that's going outside the house, and we basically sided over it? Now we're blue boarding. Like, do we have access to that? He texts me back. He calls me and goes, what's going on? Like, this is out of the blue. I'm like, yeah, I'm just driving, and my mind is racing with all these things that could be a problem, and I'm just texting people all the time. It's like, hey, did you look at this? And he's like, you're right, I think we have access. I'm like, I need you to confirm that. I don't need a I think. I don't need a maybe. I don't need a it should. Those are all words that should, if I were to write a process, it would be like all those things. Just don't even use them.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, then you need to go back. But those are things that keep me up. It's like, oh, I've been working with this permit for one of these jobs, and it is kind of a cluster where we have 2 different architects on the same job, and trying to get this thing permitted, man, it's like every week I need one more thing, and I can't even tell you how much of a gut punch it is every week. Where I'm like, and today it's like everything's in, the inspector's good, and I actually for an hour was like, this is what relief feels like.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay right now. And then I didn't want to move. I didn't want to go anywhere. Didn't want to think about anything. Didn't want to look at my phone because I was like, something else will be a trigger. Mm-hmm. You know, you ever think of something and then go to text somebody and then open your phone and then go get completely sidetracked?
Yeah.
And then, because I wanted to text you guys when I left to be like, hey, I need 6:30. Open my phone to do that. I got sidetracked with 3 other problems I had to go with. Then I sat there. I pulled over, looking at my phone going, why did you open your phone? Why did you open your phone in the beginning? And I'm like, is it age? What is it? It's like,
dude, it's true. I was laying in bed last night and I'm like, I can't fall asleep. So I'm just like running through everything. And at like 12:30, I don't even know what made me think of this, but I had a conversation with a new floor sub that I'm going to use on this job.
Oh, Jesus.
And he was like, we're trying to match what we already did in the other portion of the house, but he doesn't want to use oil, and I kind of don't want to because we have to use the stairs, and we're going to stain it and then put amber sealer and then put the water poly on top of that to make it look close to oil. And he was like, what kind of stain did they use in there? And I don't know why I told him Minwax, because I don't know why. It's just what came to my head. But then I'm like, wait, we didn't use Minwax stain there. I went and I got Duraseal stain to do the samples for the customer. And this was in July. So I'm sitting in bed and like, I had the conversation with Minwax. That was it. End of story. That's what he's going to get to match a floor. And then at 12:30 at night, it just comes into my head. You didn't use Minwax. You used Duraseal. So then I'm like, do I want to text him at 2:30?
Who triggered that?
I do no idea where it even came from.
Like, who triggered that came in and was like, it wasn't Minwax? Like, who? Why are you saying it to me?
Right.
So then
like you want to turn to your left shoulder and be like, dude, back off. Let it just figure itself out.
It's like you looked at your own floor and it just like floor.
It
wax,
wasn't even
stain. Hold on.
Right?
Yeah, and I can't even tell you where it came from, but immediately I was like, no, it's Duraseal. So then I'm like,
if I don't text him right now.
Yeah, do I text him right now? Then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm just starting to use him and I don't want him to know like how nuts I am right now. So I was like, I'll wait till the morning. But I know by the morning I'll forget. So I took my phone and I hid it underneath my nightstand beside my bed. Because I know when I go to get my phone in the morning and it's under the nightstand, I'll be like, why is my phone under the nightstand? Oh, that's right, because I need to text the flooring sub. So, like, that's how I remembered to text the flooring sub, because I didn't want to grab my phone and open it up to shoot myself an email reminder or put a calendar alert in at 12:30 in the morning because I didn't want to get going. So I slid my phone under the nightstand so I don't forget. Like, that's my life.
Dude, I figured out that if I text myself and I don't open my phone again, it will be an unread text in the morning from myself to remind myself of something.
Yeah. I've done that, yeah.
It's cuckoo.
That's why.
And is it all worth it? Like,
that's what I'm like. That's where I'm at the point where.
But like, what makes it worth it? Like, I looked at. Did anybody see what the Powerball and Mega Box is? It's like 480 million.
Yeah, I think my wife went across the street and got a ticket.
You send your pregnant wife over.
Yeah. She got to walk around. Baby's doing his second.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. Yeah, right.
I don't know what it's worth.
But like, how do we value it? Like, this is where I think we screwed up. I heard a podcast today where it's like, I forget what it was about, but it's about like comedians, and it was on Rogan, and they were like, comedians and movie and all this stuff is all about being an artist. Mm-hmm. Do we find ourselves being artists instead of business people? Like, this is us making art, and we use that as artistic, what is it called? Artistic justice or.
For me, I feel as though we're in this business mentality and trying to get back to the artist.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to set up the business and I got to get these things in place, and then I get to be the artist again.
But I feel like the artist takes over too much during the day. And then you're like, all right, now how do I make up for this?
That's what prolongs the business, which then prolongs the stress.
Well, but I guess what I find is that during the day, I'm doing this, I'm banging this out. Like, for instance, I went back to my Carlisle job this morning because yesterday I felt like I wasn't 100% focused.
Yeah.
Like there was a different person on the job site that was asking me questions that, when people ask a question, but they implying that they know too much, it sounds like me in the podcast. And it's like, and I was like, no. And I was like, I wasn't answering it the way I wanted to because I didn't want it to be this conflict. And then I found myself going, I don't know if I got to the bottom of everything I wanted to get to at that job site. And I walked on today with Hunter and I was like, I'm back again because I didn't walk this site the way I wanted to openly, like my mind open to see different things. Like I walked in today and I was like, the kitchen window, I didn't realize you could see the back of the gated garage the way you can. Like I thought I'd see more. Well, is that a problem? Like that's how I wanted to walk through that site. And that was something that I knew that if I didn't get done, Tyler, to your point is like, if I let that build up, what does that turn into Wednesday afternoon? Like, yeah, it could be fine. Like nothing's going to happen where they're putting on second floor joists and all that. There's nothing that's going to compound anything right now if I don't do it. But it's literally a battle with myself.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to sleep Tuesday night because I let it go in my mind?
Well, just having this conversation with Nick after all of this happened, just kind of, reevaluating what I'm doing. And he said, at the end of the day, a lot of this is about financial security and financial stability. And it is, but I don't know if like I of course, I'd love to not have any financial worries. I think that most of the stress that I produce in my life is probably being self-employed, the financial stability, financial security, retirement, making customers happy. But at the end of the day, I feel like my life, I would be happier in my life as a whole, big picture, if I just was like, you know what? I'm not going to ever make enough money to retire at 65. Like, I'm going to work forever. But I was able to enjoy my life from, I just turned 35, from 35 till 75, where I worked. We were able to get by, survive. We accepted that. And just like having the security of knowing, hey, this is all going to work out. You'll be fine. You're never going to get rich. You're never going to have like the retirement like people have these days, but you're going to enjoy your life for the next 40 years. And I would be okay with that. What I'm not okay with right now is killing myself to get by, save a little bit of money, not love where we are, and not love everything that I'm doing in my life. And I don't think that you're going to love everything that you're doing, but I don't need a retirement plan in place or a huge pillow or cushion in my bank account to be happy. I don't want to feel like I feel every day. I don't want to feel like my stomach's in knots and in my throat and I need to make this customer happy and I'm not going to see the kids and I can't go away this weekend, like all of that. And, I'd be fine with it if I was doing that and I was banking, $100,000, $150,000 a year, like in savings. I'd be like, all right, it's worth what I'm doing. It's worth the struggle because this has an end to it. Right now, it just feels like I'm doing all of that. We're not saving that much money. And for what? Like, so I can go in anaphylactic shock on Christmas Eve and my kids get, like, for what?
That's why I think, Nick and I have both said it. I think your talent, especially with COVID now, I think it's opened everyone up to being like, well, is this where I want to live? Is this my landing spot? And it's, from what I've seen, there's a lot of people transplanting and moving, but it feels like, hey, why not explore it? And I think your talent in particular is, nothing against New Jersey, an absolute waste. I think even the people that you get to work with you alongside of you will improve. Everything would change, wherever you end up going, but I think it could be a little easier. Obviously expenses will be a little bit more depending where you go, but I think it offsets. Nick, what do you think?
Well, to go back to your point about kind of opening up the opportunity to relocate, I can't help but to think that COVID and this year, or last year, I guess now, really opened a lot of people's eyes, because we've all internally talked, and we're talking about it today, and there's probably some that will refrain from talking openly about, but we've all really questioned what we were doing in some sense, and myself included. I've been pretty quiet and listening, but I've talked to Tyler, and I've talked to you, John, about there was times where I felt as though, what was I doing this for? Why was I growing my business? What is this actually what I wanted to do? Meg and I have talked about relocating. I think, Tyler, you and I had a conversation, almost like simultaneously texted each other like, hey, I'm thinking about moving. And it's something that we've thought about, and not as serious, and certainly haven't dealt with anything to the level that you have, Tyler. But it's this question that I think myself, John, Tyler, a lot of people that are probably listening have had the opportunity to reflect and question this past year. Is this what I want to be doing? Like, there's so much opportunity in this world. Maybe I'm out of a job, or maybe, job's great, but it's super stressful, or it's, hey, I could work from home, or, the internet itself has lent us the opportunity to be financially stable there, right? We can go down a rabbit hole with that. I guess what I'm getting at is, I just feel as though, for me, it's given me this time to really reflect and question and really consider what I want. And I agree with Tyler in the sense that part of me thinks that I would be happier if I was doing something that was less stress. Yeah. When the toughest of days come, I have a joke with Meg. I walk in, I'm like, we're moving to Hawaii, I'm becoming a bartender, and we're going to surf every day. That's my life. And I've never surfed a day of my life. I've never even been a bartender. But I just, in my mind, that's my escape. Like, that's what we're going to end up doing. But
cocktail.
Yeah. But the other side of it is, I know there's things in this industry that I really love, and they're, I guess what I'm getting at is, we took off from Christmas to New Year's, and I took out my notebook, and I just kept writing over and over, page after page, like, what is it that I want? And I kept starting with the business, and then I stopped, and I started with, like, my life. Like, what do I want in life? What are the things I want to be able to do with my family? Whether it's materialistic, whether it's travel, whether it's more free time, whatever it was, I just wrote it down, and then I started kind of unpacking that and seeing, all right, now what about a business? What is it that I truly want to do? And looking at what I wrote down and comparing it to what I have as a business today, and does it even jive? Is it a stepping stone? John, you always say it's like, I'm early in the process. You're right. I'm early in the process. I'm young. There's all these things that I could use as not an excuse, but as a reason to why I am where I am and why I'm not where I want to be. But the other side of it's like, well, what if I change? What if I adapt the business to am I even headed in the right direction, I guess? So
that's what I say it with worry usually. Is that, like, sometimes I think you're
worried,
it for the chase.
I'm worried with you.
that the chase is there, and before you know it, that you've gone down a dark alley.
100%, and that's what leads to the stress. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I worry about, I worry about my guys, right? It's like, we have a lot of people. It's like, that's a lot of people to add onto a team and be responsible for. But then I have to look at it on the other side. It's like, but I'm the one that goes home, and I'm the one that's stressed out, and I'm the one that's leveraging anything and everything to build this business. That's on me. And it's my choice. It's my leverage, everything. And it's, at the end of the day, it's, just like Tyler, it's like, why would I put myself in a position where I'm leveraging myself to a point that I'm hurting myself emotionally, hurting my family,
physically,
all of
mentally.
that. Yeah. Because what? Because I'm worried that the talented team I have can't get a job elsewhere. It's like pretty foolish for me to think that, where it's like I know that they'd be just fine.
It's almost just an excuse that you're lying to yourself.
Of course.
It's the same as that, like, you have that crappy client, and then you see your other client, like, but this client's great. My next 3 will be like that, because that's what I'm attracting. That's what.
And I mean that. Sorry to cut you off, but like that is huge in this industry. It's like we've had, not that many, but we've had a couple really tough clients, and that changes your mindset pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they end up soaking up so much of your mind and your time that the good clients suffer. And, a couple weeks ago, I don't work on the weekends. I've been casually talking to this architect and this homeowner about building her forever home. Amazing design, super, super modern, amazing client, great. Like everything was awesome. And we've been talking, and he was like, "Hey, can you meet on Sunday to take a look at the lot?" And I didn't even question. I was like, absolutely. Like I was excited about it. It wasn't because
opportunity overruled everything else.
Yeah, it wasn't because I felt as though I needed to. Like they were like, you don't have to come. I'm like, absolutely not. I want to check this lot out. Like I gotta see this place.
Those are the best clients. Like hey, I'm swinging by the job, but you don't need to be there.
And that's when you're on cloud 9. Yeah. It's like everything. Like this is why I do it. This is why I'm in this business. This is why I'm building this company. This is why I tell John that I want to build $8 million houses. This is all the reasons. But how it's constantly like we're not going to talk about the business model or the business plan on how to approach work with more clients that fit that need. But that's what it's about. It's like getting.
It's never about the money. It's never like, well, I'm going to make such a percentage off that person. That never comes up.
No, and
it's always like with a personality. It's like that's super cool. Like when your guys leave, your framers leave, and go, dude, what do they do? They're super cool. Right. And it's like, yeah, that's all I want to attract.
Yeah.
Right. And it's in, to speak to that a little bit. Like I would be disingenuous if I didn't say that there's a part of me that, and I don't want to come off the wrong way. Like I am a little bit money driven. And I think in a sense we all are, and
you probably make the most money out of the 3 of us.
I would say that I probably pretend I do.
Spend.
Well, I just think that like I've never I didn't give myself a bonus last year, and
yeah,
it's and neither did Ben, and it's just like why, it's what's the why what's the reason why behind that?
I see what you're saying. Like I'm paying my worth rather than not. I would say that's to be totally on, like that is only within the last 12 months that I've actually paid myself what I should be making. I don't actually even think I'm at the point where I should be making, but I'm at a much better spot than I ever have been. But it was because I put people in place to hold me accountable to that. But the money driven side of it is, I'm not chasing that client and that lot because I think it's, I'm gonna make money, like a ton of money on it. Like I don't even know what I'd make on it, to be frank. Exactly. But
it's the adventure.
But when I step back and look at the business, it's like, all right, what do I want from this business? I want this to be a position where we're making good money. We deserve to make good money. I want to take that money and invest it. I want to buy a rental property. I want to do a spec. I want to expand and get to a point where I think the other side of what stresses us out, besides tough clients and things like that, is the financial part of it, where, a lot of us do this as our only means of income. And we don't have another means of income. And the guys that do, like I get to talk to, other guys that are in the trades. It's like, oh yeah, I own, $20 million worth of apartment rentals.
Are you kidding me? Last week we did a 1 year, end of year recap. I hit up Fox Group. He's like, I'm in Hawaii. I hit up Jason. He's like, I'm down in Florida.
But do you think that's the only income they have?
Fucking talking to people. Like, this is just, for the end of the year, this is putting me so down, where it's like, I said to myself this year, this will be the last Christmas that I'm like this. Where I'm like, I was worried about.
You deserve it.
Not certain people paying, but like waiting for certain things to come in. And then it's like, all right, well, it's weird. It's like when certain money doesn't come in that you know it's coming in. Like, I didn't do any Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm just going to wait to see how everything shakes out, just because in the back of my head, like, that financial stability is like,
dude,
all right, what am I waiting?
I'm there with you.
And it's just like,
we didn't do any of the Christmas things that we typically do. And it's like, and we usually, you know, obviously COVID, but it's like we usually go out for a crazy ass expensive dinner with the whole crew, all their wives, and it's like super fun. Obviously didn't do that, but we didn't do anything beyond that. We didn't do the photo, we didn't do the cards, the thank yous, the gifts. It's like, you know, and it's the same thing. It's like you get to this end of the year and it's a tough year to begin with, and then you end on a tough note and have this worry. It's like, why? Mm-hmm. And it's that.
I think that's the biggest point of having a coach.
Yeah, and yeah,
it's just someone that's gonna, because that optimism and that, like.
I have so many people at this point. I have, like, I would say I work with 3 different people that in one way or the other, probably 4, that hold me accountable for certain things. One being my bookkeeper.
Like beyond an accountability buddy.
No, it's not an accountability. Like, it's like, hey, here's your report. Like, you're screwing up, dude. Like, hey, you got to do this. You got to do that. And that's, you know, I actually really enjoy it because
it's necessary. It's absolutely
it's necessary, but to be able to understand, you know, it's hard because before I started doing the coaching and kind of really tracking these metrics, it's like, you know, it's numbers, right? It's like you have to get in 20 leads to get 10 prelims and then 5 contracts. It's like, that just sounds like all you're doing is pulling in work to get work.
Yeah, it becomes sales.
But which is fine.
It happens. Yeah.
Right, which is a necessity, but I think
it's not the motivating factor.
No, it's not the motivating, but to be able to measure it and realize that, hey, like, based on what we budgeted for the year, if you don't get another $2 million build, you're going to be under, and that's what this looks like at the end of the year. To be able to see that
forecasted
Q1, that's like, I've never even thought of that. And now it's like it's being driven down my throat where it's like, all right, like, now I understand. It's like, all right, where are we at? Well, you've sold 60% of your year. So if you can sell out the next 40% in the next 2 quarters, you're good. You can start planning for 2022.
You can sleep tonight.
Right.
Like, just it's like, reality.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I know, like 6 months ago.
It's selling it, but then it's like, all right, now I got to permit it. Now I got to start it. Now I got to manpower it.
But it also comes together, like we were talking earlier before the pod. It's like certain architects, like, I take the burden of permitting, engineering, you know, all that stuff, but there's certain architects that will take that entire package and go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right, maybe I should rattle that cage a little bit more than the cage I'm rattling. And I'm really difficult to give up on things, like delegate.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's amazing to me is I'm amazing at walking onto a job and telling people what to do and what's wrong. And then even jumping on phone calls with people and diagnosing what they have. But then when I get home, there's just too many things that I have to correct.
John, I'm right there with you. It's like my strongest attribute is being on site, working through problems, and coming up with solutions quick.
Even someone calls me I don't know.
Sure.
From the podcast or whatever, and I'm like, this, you know, do this, and this, and you're good to go. And then I get off that call, and I'm like, what are the this, and this that you need to do, tough guy? Like,
where do you start?
Yeah. Like, it's like I get to my office. It's like, I know I have to finish this takeoff. And if I finish this takeoff today, I'll have a contract tomorrow.
Yeah.
And and I can permit next week.
But
it's like
3 of those right now.
But you know what? I don't really feel like counting joists right now. Like,
I come home and my son's like yesterday, he goes, "Do you have to work on Wednesday?" And I was like, "You know that answer." But he's just, but like when we were like Christmas, what was it? I did actually take a half day, New Year's Eve, which was huge for me. I know, it's just, I planned on it for Christmas Eve, but then I still got home at 6:00. And And then, so New Year's Eve, New Year's I took off, blah, blah, all those days. And Cam, my youngest, is like, on New Year's Day, he's like, do you have to work today? I'm like, no. He's like, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this. And like, I was like, yeah. And then like Saturday, he woke up and he's like, do you have to work today? I'm like, no. And I'm like, so like, it's crazy. Like, I have all these things I want to get done. Mm-hmm. But as soon as he says that to me, I'm like, I don't care what there is to be done. Like, this is what needs to get done right now. So like, and then I'm also at the same time, like today I had to go and hit a job after 4 o'clock. That's why we were late. And I was like, you want to come? He's like, which one? I'm like, Cohasset. He's like, no. Like, he just knew the drive. But I'm like, how do I include you in this? Because it's tough. It's, I mean, as a dad, it's funny. Like, you want to be able to understand what financial stability is, but also the security of it, where, hey, it's not just money is just a fictitious thing.
But I think that's where it comes into, you know, breaking up where your income comes from. And I feel like I sound like a cheesy sales guy selling you, like, you need passive income, blah blah blah. But it is like there's truth to that. It's like, how do you make the money that you have work for you, right? Whether it's building assets or rentals or whatever the case may be.
How do you leverage the money you have?
Yeah, exactly. You made a comment about delegating. It's I struggle with the same thing. It's like there's so many things that I'm doing to the point where I'm sitting late night, literally learning how to run targeted Facebook and Google ads for future clients. And it's like, why am I doing?
But that's your jam, though. That's 100% your jam.
But it is. It's fun. Like, I like understanding it. But Doug, he started.
The messed up part of it is that you have a marketing guy, like a branding, marketing guy.
I leverage the hell out of Doug.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that'll be doing that don't have it. Like, I've done the whole YouTube thing where I'm like, I'll post a picture and I'm like, how do you even tag stuff? And I'll spend 2 hours on that, but I don't have a video guy.
But it's so, like, you know, I wanted to start doing more blog posts and things like that, and you know, and I just like we sit down and we want to do all these things, and he was like, hey, there's this website called Fiverr, and I feel like this is not an ad there's no sponsorship, and it's people that go on there and they basically offer different services. So over the break, you know, I spent some time kind of just reflecting and like.
It's with 2 R's?
Yeah, Fiverr. And I spent like 3 hours on there the other day. I'm like, dude, I can just hire a guy to run Facebook ads.
I just lost my night right now.
But you know what? You know what it. You know what? It triggered it was last podcast with Maker Table.
He's out of his mind.
But he talked about in that the nugget out of his podcast was the fact that he was like, I needed a software engineer, so I hired him. I paid him whatever he wanted, and when he was done, he was gone. Yeah. And no one's ever said it that way. And I was like, dude,
it's like WeWork, right? Where you can grab like anybody for a graphic.
I think WeWork. No, Upwork.
Sorry, yeah. Upwork. That's the word. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think Upwork is who we work with it, and I think I found Fiverr. Either way. Yeah. But yes, you can just grab people that are specialized in certain things. You hire them for that task, and then they're done.
Doing a side hustle.
And it's like, I've been trying to put together, I have a pretty nice contract proposal, but I want like a nice, like, who we are, this is our process. Like, I want you to love the like flipping through it. And I have an outline, and I just don't, I was like, I'm the only one that can do that. So and then I found someone on that website. I ended up going back to Drew because I forgot that Drew does that shit. And he was like, dude, why would you, like, we're literally building the web version of what you're trying to do on web. I'm like, yep, you can do the proposal. But it's those things. It's like, I can't, like, just like you, it's like you don't want to delegate it because you,
well, like, it's just like, I wish I want to have somebody in my company. Again, this is where I take heat and shade, is that like, I want someone to take it. Because unless you recognized it and you want to take it. We're just not in that
position, dude.
I did that for other companies, and I'm just like, am I not? Again, this is 100%.
But you're an owner.
No, but like when I wasn't.
But you but
no. But my point is like, how do I harvest, or how do I
I did the same thing, but that's because we have that. Like, we eventually got to a point where we owned a company, meaning like we started with that mindset. When I worked for Avalon,
am I screwing up my environment? Am I not doing the right things to attract those people, or that? Like, I sound like a hard ass on this, but like when I'm at the job site, am I being too harsh where someone's not like, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? You know?
Yeah. I feel I'm often that same way where I don't want to necessarily ask to do it. I want people to be like me, or, you know, I'm in my head, I would have just done this, or I don't want to have to ask. And like from work that happens. I mean, it happens with my wife where it's like, oh, she's like, can you hang a picture? You know, and I'm sitting there hanging a picture. And I'm like, well, she should be handing me.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm like, well, if it were me, really I would be handing me the drill bit. Yeah. And I'm just like, I need the drill bits, you know? And I think that's, it would be wonderful if somebody stepped up and wanted to just like take it off my plate and didn't ask me and just did it. But I
just made the attempt.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe some people would do that. I also think that like, even like the podcast with Ellie, where she was so hesitant to do that or to speak up. And I think a lot of that is experience and confidence. And, you know, it takes a certain person to come into your arena, into your job, and be like, you know what, I'm just going to start doing something that he does. Where, I don't know, a lot of times when I'm at a job or when Ryan comes to work for me, I don't think, like, why would he be nervous?
Exactly.
You know, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's construction. Like, I work by myself. You're showing up. Anything that you do is going to be helpful. If you don't know how to do it, we'll teach you. If you screw up, we'll fix it. But, like, you don't realize that these people come in and they're anxious and they're nervous and they're stressed out and they're hesitant, and that, you know, maybe they don't want to step on toes. So, I don't know, maybe that conversation after a year or so is more justified, but I don't know.
But don't you think that the people nowadays, and I say nowadays like I'm 90, is that they only want to take direction? And if you don't,
I think a lot of people do, yeah.
If you don't give them a list, then guess what? They'll
I think
just
we have to be open time about it. Like, we one of the things, like, we didn't do a company dinner, but we did the 23rd.
Did you do a Zoom? Did you do like a Zoom?
No. Everyone came back to the shop. We ordered pizza, did a little speech, told everyone that, you know, hang out and then head home whenever you want, the day before Christmas Eve. And you know, one thing that I mentioned, like, this was after I sat down with everyone, had the opportunity to sit down, and, you know, everyone came back with, like, one of the questions I asked is, like, how do I make your job easier? And every single person said, like, every one of them was that we need to spend more time planning for, you know, and being involved in the planning and stuff like that. And, you know, in speaking with them and talking to them, you know, I didn't realize that I want, like you said, John, it's like, I want you to come to me and say, hey, I want to be part of the planning. But I've never said that out loud. So, you know, when everyone's there, I had said that. I'm like, listen, I hear you guys. I understand that the biggest downfall that we have as a company, the area that we can improve the most, is spending more time on planning. But what I need you guys to understand is that that's not going to be a me change. That's an us change. That's everyone here. It's like, you need, like, if you don't feel as though you're part of the planning enough, then you need to voice up. I can't be, I'm going to make as many changes and as many, you know, implementations to this company as I can, but this is a we thing, and everyone needs to be part of that, because I'm not going to be successful at implementing these things at a pace that works. And I think saying that and opening the door, John, it's like now you threw the ball in their court. It's like, now it's up to you. So now it's not just, you know, because I think oftentimes, at least for me, you know, someone's like, hey, we really should, you know, get a takeoff software. All right, yeah, I'll get it. It's like, why did I volunteer myself?
Because everyone wants to be able to do a suggestion. That's my point. Right. Is like, it's like, hey, well, you know,
bring it to me.
It's the funniest thing is that when you do a turnover, and you give someone the set of drawings and the schedule, and you go, hey, review these and let me know if you have any issues, any concerns, blah, blah. Dude, 90% of the time, they don't open it.
Yeah.
Right? It's even the same as our clients. They're like, hey, can you update that punch list? And then Ryan turns to me and goes, he hasn't opened it since October. Like, it's been updated every week, but in Google Drive, you can see when the person opened it last.
Yeah, I feel like so much of the planning, especially once, you know, what you guys are doing with PMs and supers and people running that job, I think that so much of that planning and that pre-planning that they want is, once things are finalized, them digging into it on their own.
They want it done for you. they want it done for them.
Right.
And if it means that they have this stress on them, they're employees, and they realize that they can walk away from that. And they can go, I don't need to do that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think also subliminally,
part.
yeah, but that, I mean, and I think that that's also what's desirable about working for someone. Like, if you think in your head, I want to go work for somebody, it's because, like, I want this crap off my plate.
Yeah, they got the systems.
I don't want to have to worry. I want to make, you know, there's a check getting deposited every 2 weeks, and I'm cool with that.
I don't take any hits if I screw up. The floor gets scratched. I don't own that floor.
Yeah, like and I mean that's why people who work for, you know, like there's a pay scale, and an owner, which isn't always the case with what we're doing, but should be making considerably more because they're liable for all that. They're responsible for all that. I think that so much of people wanting to pre-plan and wanting to be involved with that, it's like, you just got to do that. Like, as soon as the plans are ready, can you get me a copy of them? Can you get me a PDF so I can, like, really dive into that and dig into that and figure out what's going on? I don't know how much more that they can do, or that it would be helpful or advantageous to put on their plate prior to that conceptual design, you know, or permit set even being done. Just because I feel like you have to take that upon yourself to walk into that and get those details. We've benefited from anything that's going on with this.
No.
I think a lot of people have gotten time off. They're not commuting anymore. They're able to work from home. They're not putting themselves and their family in danger every day. Like, I'm super grateful to be able to go out and work. But since all of this hit in March, my life has been somewhat hell. It's been nonstop, and I agree. I'm not making more money because of this. It's the same.
No, I think like we're busier. We're with
your. Yeah. But your clients are home, and they're like, why isn't this get like they have more time to annoy you. Not I'm saying annoying because I know clients listen to this.
We love you.
But it's like
it's made our this has made all of our jobs harder. Like my job today harder. Is harder than if it were 12 months ago. It's harder for me to do my job right now. And everyone has less patience and everything else. And for us, like, we're going out into the world every day, and we're going around customers, and we're touching crap, and we have to go to vendors, and we have to go meet with inspectors and be in however many people's houses, masks, gloves, whatever. And like, it's amazing that we get to work, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of people whose lives because of this have gotten easier. It's like there's been some systems and put into place to kind of make this whole transition and make all of this a little bit easier. And I don't think that that's been the case for our industry. And it's amazing that we get to work, but at the same time, since March, my life has been hell. Like, it's been nonstop. There's been no downtime. And again, I'm not making more money because of this. I'm not going to be like, hey, listen, everyone wants work, John. I'm just going to jack my prices up. Or like, it's frustrating to me, kind of the state of where things are and what we're having to do to make sure everyone's happy and deal with customers way more than we ever have. But it's definitely put a huge spin on things for me, and a different perspective for me, where it's like, yo, I don't get to be home and enjoy my house. You know, like it's a.
Yeah, but people get to go to.
No, but it's like it's a joke. You know, your room's not done. Like, I don't have time to finish my daughter's bathroom. I don't have time to like replace the broken board that's out on my side porch or paint something.
Did you get the front door
I put a
fixed?
weather stripping down there. Yeah. Right.
I was gonna say ham sandwich.
I put a weather stripping on there. But it's like that's again, all of this is kind of coming together, a culmination of all these things, and getting sick where I'm like, what the hell am I doing all of this for? That like I don't get to be home. I don't get to enjoy my house. I don't get to work on my house. I don't get to make my house nice. I don't get to sit on the couch and watch a movie. Like, what I don't get what I'm doing it for. So that my customers are happy, so that like I can pay for that's another thing that's frustrating me right now. I can pay for stuff like Rachel's 4-year-old car. They spec'd from the factory the wrong engine oil. And so for 4 years, like in the manual, it was they switched it halfway through there, but like everyone's been putting the wrong engine oil in, and all of the cars are failing, and her car was one of them. And she came home and like they made us pay $500 to try and get something fixed. And then when she went back in, they're like, hey, you know what? You were late 500 miles on 4 oil changes, so your engine's gonna die, and the piston rings are going, and like my truck's been in the shop since before Halloween. So we have one vehicle that we can get the family anywhere. So it's like we didn't have time to do anything. We had to trade in her car immediately, take a massive hit on it, and buy a new car, which we weren't intending to do. And I'm like, again, I'm killing myself so that I can like buy a new car when I don't want to buy a new car, and spend more money that I don't want to be spending, complicate my life, and not, you know, pay for insurance on a truck that doesn't work, and a dump trailer that I bought to try and make my life easier that I can't pull anywhere. And it's like, oh, so now I got to buy a new truck. So I'm going to spend 50, 60, 70 grand on a new truck so that I can pull a dump trailer. Like, no, I'll just get dumpsters at that point. Like, I'll buy a truck. But it's like...
But isn't it weird that you'll say to yourself, like, making that decision to buy the car, you're like, I'll just hammer out a bunch more hours for the next 6 months. That's like, you can easily just put a pin in it and go, I'll just hammer out the next year.
But and that's exactly what happened. Where it was like, hey, Rach, you know, this isn't because you didn't change your oil. Like, she called me bawling because this is what the dude told her. And I was like, this isn't because you didn't change your oil. Like, if you went thousands and thousands of miles over, like,
I do on a regular basis.
Dude, you can,
right?
On my truck,
at least 5,000.
I send my big truck in. My brother had me take oil analyses so that I can find out how far over I can go. I'm changing my oil.
I don't do that.
Dude, 15,000 miles, and it's coming back like perfect. No issues. It's not degraded past any sort of point that it's going to cause failure. And like you said, John, like, what am I going to do? They have us by the balls. We got to get a new car. Let's go car shopping. Let's get a new car. And it was like, literally, I left the job at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. We bought Rachel a new car. I went back to work.
Yep.
I left the dealer and I went back to work from 6 o'clock until like 10:30 that night. Because I'm like, yo, I got to make money. I got to pay for this stuff. Like,
and like, you can control it. Like, people at their desk job, like, there's security, but then like, what do? You're not going to, like, we have the option of being able to go back to work.
Yeah,
no one's
but
gonna
like,
go push paper for the next
it
8
is,
hours
but at the
and get
same
paid
time,
extra.
like, it's not healthy for us.
No.
You know?
It reminds me of the time where we bought our first house in Malden, and I think I was 22, and I spent every dime I had saved between the down payment for the house and an engagement ring, like, in the same month. And I did that. We bought the house. Okay, we buy this house, and sight unseen, my wife didn't even see it till the inspection. She was my girlfriend at the time. And it was a rat's nest, like, broken window. There was a bed on every floor, including the basement. And I was like, the opportunity here. I'm a craftsman, you know, just give me some time, you know, all that stuff. And we bought the house, and then we closed on it on like July, I want to say it was like July 17th. and it was like a Friday. We closed, blah, blah, start like cleaning and throwing stuff out, get the dumpster over the weekend. We get a call on Monday. It's like, hey, the buyout of the house didn't cover the liens that are on it. I guess there was some credit cards or whatever from the people that own the house and blah, blah. Like, we're going to need the keys back. I was like,
what?
Excuse me? And they were like, yeah, it's like $45K that's left unpaid. Like, the lawyers just didn't do a background check on, liens or whatever else that was, on the house. And my answer then was, all right, I'm going to work. So, like, I was working full time for TJ Klein. And then I was like, anyone that wanted side work, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I worked literally. I remember I was doing a built-in in Walpole for one of my high school friends. And I was doing it under the lights. This is before they had like the Milwaukee lights.
Yeah.
I was like fluorescent. That gets super
So hot.
Sweating your ass off.
Yeah, and it was doing all this at like midnight, and like they didn't mind, which was amazing when I look back at it. Doing everything, and it was like the realtor knocked their commission in half. The credit card company knocked their fees in half. I came up with another $15,000 within 30 days.
Right.
And we bought the house and closed.
Right.
Yeah, but it was like, dude, I got so sick.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've been sick. I've had heart issues. I've had vertigo. But back then, when I was younger, in my prime, I was working so many hours, like roofing, whatever it was. I was like, all right, I can do 5 there. I'll do 7 there. I'll do 3,000 there. I'll get all that, collect it all, do it, and we'll have this house. But the crazy thing is, you look back with hindsight, yeah, I did all that. Then for the next 11 years, I did every room in that house. It was like, we'll buy this house 3 years later, we'll flip it, boom, we'll be making loot on top of loot. and it was like, 11 years, 2 kids, 2 dogs later, I did every room in that house. And when it was all said and done, we finished the kitchen, bathrooms, everything, and we sold it right away. Like, literally, I finished it and then never enjoyed a second of it.
Right.
Because it was like,
and the money that you made was basically nothing.
It was used to get to where we needed to be for the next stage of our life. And that's where I'm like, am I still doing that? And I look at a lot of things where, like I've said this before, that when I had my first dog, was I ready to have a dog? Probably not. Had our
you were
had our
so
kids,
analytical.
And I'm like,
it's so funny.
Am I a great parent? Or like, if my kid's 13 and now I'm becoming a better parent? And I'm going to always improve, but now it's like we have a second dog, and it's like, I'm going to be way more calm with this one. Like, we're just chilling. Like, and it's, dude, we're not going to live forever. Like, when am I going to have this business where now I bought this house, and where this is what this is exactly, being completely honest, like just the 2 of us, 3 of us. And it's like, all right, when I left my last company and I was there, I was like, all right, we bought this house, we'll renovate it in a short amount of time. The numbers all made sense. It all added up. And I was like, I want to have that house that we built for all our clients, so when my kid's in high school or whatever, he'll have it, and people be here, forget COVID. And now it's like, the biggest driving point is, I want to make my clients happy is number one. I want to make my employees happy that they're like, I'm like, I'm saying to the wife, I'm like, 2 years, I'm going to get the guys a Traeger grill. I'm going to do one of those like fun boss things where every couple of years they get something cool, not just a bonus. And my house still isn't finished.
Nope.
And then I'm like, my son's going into high school next year. And that's like my biggest thing. It's like, you did all this the last, 7 years. You haven't been able to make that happen. What's the matter with you? Yeah, you've changed people's lives. You've helped so-and-so. But have you... This is my mom talking to me. Like, when I was flying around all over the U.S. doing these stupid things. And she's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, brand recognition, it's going to help out. Like, I get paid X amount of dollars. Yeah, my house still isn't finished. Yeah. And now that's what really... On top of the client expectations and execution and doing all this stuff and making sure that I hold my end of the bargain with all my employees and my clients. It's like, am I holding the bargain that I made with the property I bought and for my family, and that I made with myself? And that's the biggest struggle I have right now. It's like, all right, you're done putting everyone else first. Like, you have to make that money that you promised yourself, that you set out, that you the company makes, and you have to be a hard ass. When it's like, hey, you got to pay, then just pay the bill. I'm not fronting it. I think Kochman was one of the best podcasts, or he goes, hey, I take a 40% deposit. Nothing that goes through my shop isn't client paid for. And that was huge. And that took them 30 years in the business and a business coach to figure out. And that led me to, right before I get sidetracked, Tyler, have you ever thought of getting a coach?
No. I haven't.
My wife had a conversation with me saying I need to get a therapist. And she said, therapists need therapists. And I was like, good fucking point, babe. Like,
yeah.
I had nothing to say.
How was your day? Well, I talked to all these people that have issues. Now I want to tell you about those issues and then the issues I'm having.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I haven't. And I guess I'm where I am right now, is the same feelings that you're having. I don't know if I can kind of instate changes in my lifestyle or where I am with the business that I've kind of built up and the customer base, if I can make those changes happen and still have the fulfilling life that I kind of long for, because I see this kind of playing out, and 10 years from now nothing's going to change, 15 years from now nothing's going to change, and I'm still not going to have time. I'm not going to have time or the energy to work on my house. The bills are still going to be there. They're only going to become more, and I guess I'm getting tired of trying to sell our value and what we're doing and ensure people that it's going to be worth it. And it's like, I don't know for what. Again, so I have a couple of things that I would consider somewhat nice. My house isn't nice. I don't have time to do my house. Even my shop, like, it'd be nice to I got some shelving to put in there so I could sort my lumber better. And I'm like, I don't have time to put that shelving up to, where it's like, I can't find a half day to put shelving up in the shop so that I can get lumber that's standing up, that I have to stand on top of the rack that I made so I can look and see what's down there. And I don't know, with the way that things are structured and the cost of living here and kind of our lifestyle and how we're set up, if this is what is 15, 20, 25 years down the road, if this is really what makes the most amount of sense. It's like, dude, I would
think a coach will help that though?
I don't.
Someone that's unbiased. That I feel like every coach is a joke that's out there. That they just.
So one thing that I'm doing immediately that gave me breathing room is anyone who gets a hold of me now, because I'm just over it, I'm going to be like, listen, I'm going to develop a budget for you, and then it's time and material. And I'm not going to feel badly about the hours, because there's been so many jobs that I've just put in extra time, eaten the cost of this, eaten the cost of that. Oh, you know what? I forgot that I didn't put that in the estimate. And dude, it's $5 here, it's $10 here, it's $25 here, it's $150 here, $300 here. By the end of the job, it's thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And I'm like, you know what? I should have covered that. I should have known every single thing that's going into this job. Why? A plumber doesn't do it that way. My mechanic doesn't do it that way. The doctor doesn't do it that way. I don't go to the doctor and say, hey,
give me your
these
best
are
price.
My symptoms. How much is it going to cost to make me feel better? It's no, we'll come in and we'll see what's wrong, and then we'll try something. If that doesn't work, we'll try something. And every time you're paying for it. And
but imagine it's I only estimated 6 stitches. Dude, so you're going to bleed out because you needed 8.
But that no doctor's going to be like, hey, you know what? While you were here, we'll treat you for this too, and we'll just put it all on one bill. No.
Yeah. We gave you that.
From a business perspective, nobody gives away anything. Look at my cars. No, they don't care if it breaks. They don't care if it cost you, and that means you not spending 2 months with your kids because you're going to work late. They don't give a crap. And And I'm sitting here being like, you know what? I'm going to eat that $300 or I'm going to eat that $200 for the special paint because I didn't know you were going to paint the doors dark blue, and you can only paint with a special paint over PVC, and you want them to be dark blues. But you know what? I should have known. I'll eat that $200. Or how are they going to react to me? Like, and I'm just.
You think it's because you say, hey, I have this amount of experience. This is what I come to the table with. So that way, you personally feel like you've set the bar so high that you can't go back.
I also think that I've just like slowly gotten into this rhythm of doing things that way, where like it was a bathroom, I knew every cost that could go into it. And then it's like, well, now it's 2 bathrooms and we're adding one and doing this. And like, you guys want to know how long this job is going to take. I'm going to give you an estimate on it. And then you realistically want me to go into a 100-year-old house. And like, I'm supposed to just be covered, and I'm supposed to know if it's going to take 40 days or 45 days. Okay, well, if I charge $1,000 a day, that's $5,000 that I could potentially eat. Why am I eating that? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm so sick of me trying to sit and work numbers and like make it all good for my customers and make sure that they're happy and make sure that, you know what, I'll eat $2,500 because my electrician added a few things and I missed this over here, and I don't want to go back to the customer because I know that we stretched their budget and it's kind of on me. Well, like, I'm tired of it being on me. I don't want it to be on me anymore.
I was done with that when I did a basement. I said this before for one of my old hockey coaches in college, and they squeezed it. It was a side gig. And I'm like, oh, I'll squeeze this down. And the burden was 100% on me. So I'm like, you're like at Home Depot going, do I need 25 studs?
Yeah.
Or can I get away with 23? Like, stupid. Like, absolutely ridiculous. It's like, buy it, then I don't return it. And then at the end of it all, I did the whole basement. And it was a nursery. No, not a nursery, but a...
play area?
They literally had kids get dropped off. Daycare. Oh. And then they're like, hey, guess what we did? I'm like, what? And they're like, we bought a place in New Hampshire. And I literally, if I had access to a gun, I would have shot my head off. Like, suicide's huge right now. But like, I was like, I fell for it.
Right.
Like, I was friends with them. Like, I knew them. I was giving them a break. No, I gave them a break to be able to leverage something else. So what part am I in this whole scheme? In today, this is 25 years later, I'm still struggling with that, where it's like, I tell my clients straight up, where I'm like, hey, we're in a weekly meeting, and I'm like, hey, I just have this problem with bringing value first. Nick, we talked about this earlier with, I was like, hey, well, we'll bring this architect in. They're a great value, blah, blah. And they're like, well, we're talking to so-and-so as well. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Just go with that. Yeah. That makes my life easier, your life easier. It may cost $30,000 more, but like, why do I think that my client pool can't afford that and I didn't suggest it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that, to be honest with you, I think you touched upon this earlier, but like, that's what stays in my head for hours.
Yeah.
Where I'll be doing 5 other things and then be like, you really didn't think that they could afford that? Why didn't you come up with that email? Why didn't you suggest that person? Because that would have set a whole different tone. And if they said no early, not a big deal. And then you're over it. And they don't have to do the dance for the next month.
Yeah.
And it's like stupid.
So I'm doing primarily remodeling, and a bathroom on the first floor versus a bathroom on the second floor, or like a bathroom where I didn't walk through the entire thing, and it's like, I really only have a place over here to set my saw up. Now this probably adds 2 days, 3 days worth of walking to the job that I didn't compensate for. Like, I'm not building a box inside of a shop or a shed inside of a shop or something that's like very systematic where you can quantify exactly what's going to go into it. You're going to have the same scenario, the same situation. It's going to be the same temperature every day when you walk in there. And like, it doesn't matter if I'm going to paint a room or if we're remodeling a kitchen. There's so many things that go into it where it's like, you know what? I didn't realize the inside, like the job I'm on now, the inside of the closet, like whoever put the closet on, they didn't drywall the inside of the walls, like there's 2 doors, you open them up, and on the inside of the closet, they didn't drywall that. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the customer and be like, if you want to drywall it, it's going to cost you money to drywall it. But like,
they feel like a scumbag?
Yeah, right. But it's like, oh, so I didn't open the doors and have a flashlight and reach my head around in and look and see if it was drywalled, or like, now that I'm in there, you know, it's like, oh God, they put this closet in and somebody put base cap that doesn't match the other base cap, and they didn't even cope it. And you get all the furniture out of the room, and it's completely different than when I looked at it when the furniture was in the room.
And it's weird that we're held to the standard of like, well, you got to walk the job. Why
you got to tell me how much it costs, dude? It's like.
But I guess and this is like, how do we format that? How do we format that conversation so when those things come up, we don't feel like a scumbag?
So this is what I did. Go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say, like, Benny and I have been talking about, like, how do you get, when you buy a house, before you can even put an offer in, there's that whole, do you have sufficient funds?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna hold us to being accountable for every little. That's what we think, you know. But like, do we ever go when they keep adding on change orders and all that stuff? Do you have the money for this?
Yeah,
I would never insult them with that.
Right.
But it's
Nick
like
has
at the same
it in his
time,
contract.
Yeah, no, but it's where that's what Benny and I are talking about today. It's
I don't
like, how do you?
it, but
it should be like cognizant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, you know, I mean, like, this is the first job that I'm doing that, and it's a return customer. So I was like I felt comfortable going into it. I kind of sprung it on her. They'd never asked me for a price walking into this, and like on my list of things to do was get them a price. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing time and material. Like, I told them subs are going to be this much markup. Materials are this much markup. Here's my labor rate for Ryan. Here's my labor rate for me. I typed up a comprehensive scope and then basically like itemized all of that and created this budget that's pretty in depth and said, this is the amount of time I think it's going to take. And like way more than I should have, but like wrote out, hey, like I think Ryan has like this is day 1, this is day 2, just so I could wrap my head around it. And then like, this is where I think this is going to land. As we go, if we track these costs and, you know, day 4, we've already eaten up the budget because of this, and this, then you can decide how you want to spend your money. Do you want to pay more money and get like the finish that we were initially looking for, or do you want to spend the same amount of money and I'll lower the level of finish? Because I'm not like, for so long I've just given my all no matter how much the price of the job is, and I'm just going to make it right because, you know, somebody posted something on Instagram the other day where it's like, it doesn't matter if that contractor was less money or more money than the other people, they're held to the level, their best work no matter what. And it's like, if you've seen them do work to a certain level, it doesn't matter if they were less money than somebody else, they should be held to that level that you've seen their best work.
Someone posted that on YouTube the other day. I was like,
and it's like,
are you out of your mind?
Yeah, how? Like, if I've done a bathroom that was $60,000, right? And you wanted to pay me 15, and there was a guy who was going to do it for 17, there's no way I'm doing my best work for a $15,000 bathroom. It just doesn't even make sense. And that's the mindset that everyone has. And it's like, you have to come into a remodel, 100-year house, and you have to have your head wrapped around everything. So like, I actually want to circle back after this because I'm tracking everything that goes into this job. Like, where it's like, yo, I used Vibifuse tape for a few patches, or I'm just gonna like write it all out, and I'm gonna get a comprehensive list of what we did, where things changed, where things weren't, and look like where my numbers are, because I already know it's gonna be more than what I estimated because I've already ran into so many things. Like, every door the hinges were sprung on, and every door had to be like refit way more than I thought it was going to be, just because they're so far out. Oh, her door doesn't stay open when you open it. We have to always put something under there. Can you make that so that the door? And it's like, yeah, I can work my magic on that, and spent, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours fitting one door, manipulating all the hinges so that I can get it to work perfectly in a 100-year-old house, that the jam's out of whack, everything's cross-legged, and it's like, I didn't plan to do that. You know, like I walked in, the bedroom door shut. Okay, I didn't know that it didn't stay open and that was an issue for you.
It's also the evolution of your execution. That once you start executing, I remember when I was younger, people
where do
were
you draw the line?
We're going to leave the ceiling. We're going to leave these walls. And then now, after a couple of years, it's like, yeah, we can pretend to leave that. But once we finish everything else, that ceiling's going to look like dog shit. It's going to cost more money to take it down when everything else is done. But it's also, how do you not feel like you're nickel and diming them, where they're going to be like, oh, it's a scope creep. Remember that? No one really talks about it now because everything is kind of just open. But like, I drove by a house today, and I was driving up along this main road in 2027, and I saw like this. I'm like, oh, it must be a home inspection, because it's two people standing there, guys on the porch with a clipboard. And I kept driving up, and I saw there was a carpenter crew there. I'm like, oh, that's a change order. That's exactly what that guy's doing, is that he's pointing at how he didn't know this, that, and this. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We don't have a crystal ball. We can do our best thing. And I think it's being honest with that. I mean, I think we did a great job of it for that Brookline project we did. How about them walnuts? And to be honest, we did that for a good amount of money, but someone else had that job when we got it. We got there. They were like, we love you on Instagram. We'll fire them. They were like $1 million more than us, the other people, we found out. And it's like, how much easier would my life have been if there was $1 million
another $1 million
to play with?
Right.
With the execution would have been amazing. Probably would have done it faster because it could have brought more people in.
Right.
And then something else I thought about earlier. I know I'm jumping around. My ADD helps out with construction because I can jump around from job to job. But like, I'm not looking forward to this $2,000 stimulus package that comes out.
No.
Like, not so much me.
I think it's 600, isn't it?
But there's something else where I was reading something. But it's like, either way, whatever check that comes out, whatever you're deemed for, like whatever these subs are that don't have to go to work because they're going to grab $600 or whatever it is, that was a huge issue for a lot of our guys, where a 6-man crew dropped to 2 because they were like, I can just stay home, collect unemployment, get my stimulus check.
Dude, people are still collecting unemployment, still getting like, and like, I don't know how you should be proving that you can work. Like, I don't know. I posted something in a TIFF a while back where it's like don't rely on that. Go out, like, oh, there's no jobs. No, you could work at the car wash. Like, they're definitely hiring, and it's definitely safe, but you think that you're overqualified for that. So you're going to sit and collect unemployment, where it's like, there's jobs out there, just not jobs that you think that you want, or, you know, that you think that you deserve. And it's, I feel like for us, we don't have that luxury, where it's like, yo, if all your high-end work dried up, you wouldn't just be like, you know what, I'm gonna throw in the town. I'm just gonna collect unemployment.
We do additions,
whatever you have to.
Yeah. I throw the bags back on.
If you didn't have work, right, and they were like, yo, John,
I go work for John.
There's nothing, and they're like,
we'd all work together. Home Depot.
Listen, there's a house down here that we want to flip, and like, I know it's not what you do, but it's a certain amount of money. If you didn't have work, there's 100% chance you'd go do that, because it's like, yo, I need to work. I have people who need, you know, we got to pay bills. There's nothing for us to fall back on.
Yeah.
Right. And we just don't. I'm somewhat sick of not having the luxuries that other industries have, that other people have. You know, even the customers that I work for. Dude, it is, but it like the customers that I work for, that I'm so concerned, you know, that, hey, I want to do time and material because it's only fair to me. Because me working a 3-month job and making half of what I thought I was going to affects me, it affects my family. Why am I guessing at how long I think this stuff's going to take? If you want us, you want our quality, then like, hey, look, let's budget a certain amount. We're going to go through this. If we run into stuff and it takes longer, then like, you're not going to get the quality. Yeah. Or you pay extra for it, or whatever it may be. But why is little me eating that? Why am I paying for all of that? Where like, my customers make way more money than I do. Yeah. But I'm paying for their renovation because I didn't count on this, and this.
Right.
I agree. I think the only question that I've ever gotten is how are you accountable for timing? If it takes longer, what's keeping you accountable? Like why aren't you just trying to make it last longer if you're just getting paid X amount? I think that's, and I just say,
I think it just comes down to trust.
I gotta get it. I don't want to be at your place long, and that it's trust. That's it.
Well, I think early on that question comes up, and if they're asking that question, it's because they don't know. They generally don't know the answer, and they want to hear how you're going to say it, because somebody else might be selling something, another option.
I think it just has to be like this is trust. I trust you that you're gonna be a good client, and you're trusting me based on that I'm going to be a good contractor. It's like,
because you don't want to be like, hey, I have a ton of work to do beyond this one.
No,
you never want to
because then it's like, oh, are you going to rush it?
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is a two-way trust. Like I'm trusting that you're going to be a good client. You're trusting that I'm going to be a good contractor based on the fact that this is how you're doing your due diligence. You're interviewing me. You're calling my references. You do your due diligence, but
it's the same thing as, I don't ask you, do you have
the money,
every penny in the bank?
Right.
Are
Show
we doing
me proof
that?
of funds. Yeah, no problem. Here's oh damn, you have $15 million in the bank, and you're picking on me.
Oh,
for
you only have
$1,000.
You have $70K in the bank, and it's $100K, and you're hoping that by the time we finish the project, you're gonna get paid XYZ, that Christmas bonus from.
Right.
And
then it's like, well, yeah, John, who are you to judge that I won't?
Then who do you judge to me that I'm not going to be accountable for what I do?
Cool. Sign on the dotted line. I'll be here tomorrow. Bye.
But all right. So your general liability insurance, right, or your workers' comp, whatever it may be, they're budgeting that, right? They're budgeting how many hours I think that they think it's going to be. Can you hear me? Or
yeah, no, we
were just saying.
We just renewed ours.
Our general liability.
Right.
I fought mine today. I fought my workers' comp.
Okay, so your workers' comp, they're going to budget, hey, you have, throwing numbers out there, $100,000 payroll. Like, they're guessing. That's made up, right? But then they're auditing at the end of that. Yeah. And if you didn't pay enough, they're giving you another bill.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like the insurance companies do that. And they have so much freaking money. And then, we can't do that. I can't give you a budget for this job and then go back and audit it and say, hey, what do you actually owe me? I thought that this job was going to take 2 weeks and it took 14 days. So, I'm going to audit you for that 14 days and you owe me 4 days worth of labor.
I usually audit it, and then we're like, all right, well, that's how much we lost. Let's move on.
Yeah, but that's usually what happens.
But everyone does that. Everyone does that in business. The only things that don't is you get a haircut. It's going to be X amount. Say they spend an extra 10 minutes on your hair. That's not a 6-month job. That's not a 3-month job. It just doesn't make sense the way that our smaller construction, cost plus, that makes sense, but still you guys are bound to this budget and maintaining this budget, and you still have to hit those numbers. And how much are you guys eating where you're still you're looking at a paper with drawings on it that's hypothetical. You cannot walk through 75% of the details of that job. No. It's impossible. You won't cover them.
And then
maybe you get 50
to change stuff. And it's dude, and we just bid the whole thing out.
And you got to stick to that budget, and you got to it's just so impossible to do. And I feel so often that at the end of the day, the burden falls on us, or the eating money falls on us. Mm-hmm. And I'm just I'm through with it, because it honestly, it affects my health. It affects my well-being. It affects not only that, but now you're on jobs for longer, and you got to tell your customers that you can't get to them. Yep. Right. So you're just getting freaking smoked no matter what way you slice it.
And then the new client calls that could be that perfect client, but yet your whole mindset's upside down because you're trying to finish that job. Your other clients want you to be there, and you're just fed up with it, and you may have just missed the best client
for sure
that you could have had.
I just it all of this coming to a head with COVID, with getting sick, with not spending time with the family, with bending over backwards for customers and everything else. I think that I definitely need to reevaluate things. And one thing that I'm doing to kind of ease my anxiety this new year is like, anyone who comes to me for new work, this is just how we're going to do it. And if you don't want to do it that way, I'm not like, throwing up my fingers and being like, screw you. Like, I'll have that conversation with you as to why we're doing this. But it's super upsetting that you even have to have that. Like, you have to justify why you want to do that. And it's like, really, I don't feel like working for free, and I don't feel like funding your renovation. I had the conversation with my customer today where it's like, let's revisit this scope after week 1, see where we stand money wise, and see what makes sense to you to do. Do you want to take it to a little bit further of a finish on the old plaster walls? Like, this is how much we've spent at this time. We're on budget, we're over budget, we're under budget. What do you want to do at this point? And like, that's fair for my customer. That's fair for me. That's fair for Ryan. That's fair for my family. And the fact that that's not typical of our industry it's frustrating to me. It's frustrating. Like, I feel like for subs to have to be held to their number, where it's like, I don't want to go back to my customer. I had a guy who wants me to help with like some things for him. He does mostly full renovations, and there's like little things that he wants, like specialty stuff that his normal carpentry sub can't do, that he wants to kind of have me infill with. And he had me look at a job for him, and he's like, yeah, I just want to make sure that your numbers are good, because I hate surprises and I hate like going back to the customers. And he was like, he's like, at the end of the day, it's going to cost, like, I'm going to have to eat it. And I was like, correction, I'm the one who's going to have to eat it, because like, if I gave you a price and it wasn't enough, I'm not going back to you asking for more money. He's like, no, like, I want my subs to do everything. I'll eat the cost of it as long as they can do a good job. And I think that, over the course of our relationship, that'll cancel it out. But it's like, why isn't the customer paying for that? Why are you as the GC or me as the sub paying for that? Why isn't like the customer's getting it and they're not paying for it because we forgot this or because we didn't account for that? That like is, I'm like at my wit's end with it. You're putting equity, your blood, your sweat, your tears, materials that you're paying for, and the customer's getting them and living with them. But you feel, or your GC or your sub feels the need to eat that cost.
So right now, with all these considerations, moving, health, family, all of these, what do you think will be the change this year for you?
Dude, just do Nick's referral thing. I forwarded you the app.
Dude, I got it.
For anyone that's listening to this and got an alignable request for me, it was an accident. Somehow I got invited, and somehow I clicked off share contacts, which I didn't know it was going to send everyone in my contact list an invite. And I mean, I did tell John off air that it worked out, and one of the architects that I haven't talked to in a while reached out and said, hey, it's actually nice to hear from you. I have this project that you might be interested in looking at. So
whoops.
It was worth it.
The changes for me, so we're definitely considering a relocation that may or may not happen. There's a lot of moving parts with that.
So Tyler, I'm going to interrupt you because last week we talked, and Adam. I keep wanting to call him Jim. Adam relocated to Nashville, or just outside of, because he's an analytical guy. He like basically researched the ratio of income to home ownership, or cost of living, I should say. And Nashville rated that it was Nashville, the Carolinas, and I forget where else, but those all ranked like top, which I know aren't on your list based on your story the other day.
Benny claims that he has a lot of influence on this situation.
Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was messing around with him. I was like, yo, you guys hiring? He's like, yeah, we'll start a main division.
He told me. He's like...
I was like, all right, let's talk to John. I think, honestly, so much of that decision comes down to two things if we were to relocate, because there's tons of moving parts. There's family. There's the fact that we have a house right now that's like, sell it as is. It's not, that wasn't the plan. The plan was to fix it up some, sell it as is. So we have that. Obviously, I'm established here. We have family here.
Dude,
Rachel
let's do a makeover. Let's bring all the crews up.
Yeah,
everyone. Those extreme makeovers. Bring all the NS Builders guys.
And then I'll stay here. And then I'll stay here.
Yeah.
It's
Are you gonna love it or are you gonna list it?
Yeah. Then we'll do John's after.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot. Same. I would. There's a lot that goes into that. So I think all of those things aside, it comes down to quality of life. I think that's like the number one thing that I really want to focus on, because I don't want this to be one, wherever I go, I have to bring myself. So all of the anxieties, the mental health issues, the work-life balance, it doesn't matter if I'm in New Jersey, if I'm in Hawaii, if I'm in Asia, it doesn't matter. I'm still there. So I want to make sure that, like, whatever I'm doing, there's an actual better quality of life for me than kind of what I'm doing right now. And that could be location, that could be work-life balance, my relationship with Rachel, all of that stuff. So that's the big thing there. And then I'm going to start biting off little things. There's stuff around my house that I just want to clean up. I don't want to be on the job super late all the time. That's like one reason why I stay late, is because I didn't have enough money on the job, and I'll send Ryan home, and it's my labor and my life that I'm making up the time on. So I'm staying late, and it's like it doesn't make sense. I'm doing something wrong if the numbers aren't there. I'm not profiting what I thought I would, and I have to stay late and work an extra 4 hours a day all the time. So like that's what I'm implementing moving forward, is like we're going to do time and material, and then I'm okay leaving at 5:00 knowing that like I made my money for that day. Whether I got to where I wanted or I didn't, I can stay late because of that, but I'm not going to stay late because I'm trying to make up for lost time, because I'm trying to kind of stop the bleeding at that point, and it's affecting my health. So I think that's a huge like change for me, where it's like today, honestly, dude, first day, I'm like, hey Ryan, it's 4:45, start cleaning up. Like our 8 hours are going to be like, we're going to have our 8 hours for today. We could stay if we want to get more done. We're getting paid for that time, but like every day that I stay late for the past 10 years, I've never gotten paid for it. It's just been like, that's my day.
It's a great point, though. Imagine if we just worked 8 hours.
Yeah. And dude, there's no way that I can deal with not getting done what I need to. And if it's like, hey, customers, I can't get to you. Like, do you want your deposit back? I thought it was going to be 2 months. It's 4 months. It's going to be the same thing when I get to your job and you add this, and this. When I get to you, I can deal with all of that. I stay late to try and make up for time that I didn't compensate on any job. That's why at the end of the job, you're always staying late, because it's like, I don't have money left in this job anymore. I got to get out of here. I can't pay anyone else to do it. I got to get the hell out of here. So this is going to be big for me, where it's like, I want to leave the job at a normal time, and I want to get home, and I want to be able to unwind at like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, not get home at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then start unwinding at 10, 11, 12, Yep. Where like I'm going to sleep at 1, 2 in the morning and then waking up and doing it the next day. Like I don't want to be doing paperwork when I get home. I want to be able to take off a Monday or take off a Friday. No, take off. It's not taking off. I want to be able to work in the office on Monday or a Friday and know that I have Ryan on the job and I'm billing this much money for him and I'm making exactly this much based on what I'm charging, what my overhead is on Ryan, and I can stay home and I can line up work. And I never have had that luxury because it's like I'm paying Ryan, I'm keeping busy on the job, and I really need to be on the job. I can't be billing him for this, like making busy work so that he gets his hours, where it's like, no, I'm going to give him legitimate stuff to do, and this is what I bill my customers for, and they know that I bill my customers there, and if he's there for 6 hours, he's there for 8 hours, I know exactly what I'm going to make that day. So these are like the big eye-opening, like for me, this is huge. I think that it's going to make me worry less about the numbers and how much I'm actually making, because it's like if I go to work this day, I know what I'm making. It's like I have a normal job. I work this hour to this hour and I get paid. And I'm really going to try and push that. And if it doesn't work, starting all over is definitely an amazing and even more there's even more incentive to do so. So like this is somewhat of an effort while we're here for me to just make the best of all the work that I have ahead of me and the new people who come to work for me. I'm also not really going to be looking at any more job until I clear off what's on my plate. Because right now I spend hours and hours and days and I lose so much sleep that I need to email 6 people back that emailed me 3 days ago, and now this email has this dumb thing that comes up at the top of your inbox that you received it 6 days ago. Like, so my anxiety just so it's like yeah, I know John that I got it 6 days ago. No. Stop coming up to the top. Like, you know, I'm even laying in bed last night, which like, oh, I could bang out a couple of emails, then I don't have to do them. So it's like I entertain all of these leads, and you know, you keep them like close to your hip, because if something falls through, or maybe it'll work out, or maybe it won't.
Or you like, this client's good, it's okay.
Yeah, something
better.
Let me
go talk to these 2 clients. You know what? Oh, these 2 are better. I can be a little looser on this one now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let them hang around for emails for a few weeks while we go back and forth and try and get some of the details I need that are details that I don't need at all. I'm just like keeping them there.
Just trying to find some triggers to see if they're crazy.
And it's like, so then I'm gonna start getting you budgeting, and then I'm gonna realize that I don't want to do this anyway. So I really I want to start focusing on just like people who get a hold of me right now. I'm gonna send them the response where it's like, here's my list of questions. You get back to me. If your timeline doesn't work out, like, hey, if you want to wait, I'll get back to you at this time and we can circle back. I have a couple people who basically threw numbers out. They okayed it, where I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I'm going to take a deposit from you, but we're not going to start any sort of design for 6 months, 8 months. It's like, I'll take that deposit. That's going to secure your spot in line to work with us. But right now, I'll start designs, and then a year later, I'm doing the job. And that entire time, I'm rebidding it like 4 times, 5 times. I'm going back like, oh God, how did I even think that I was going to do this? Like, I don't remember the details. I don't remember what we picked. There were 6 other customers since then. Then they changed this, changed that. So it's like, I don't want to do design 2, 3, 4 times. So instead of making them happy and starting design when I'm not ready to start design, I'm going to be like, yo, here's your deposit. Here's your place in line. When 4 months from starting your job, we're going to start design. So that's like another thing that I want to implement.
You think you'll put that money in your active account or put that into?
No, I want to put it in a separate. I try and do like big deposits that I get for jobs. Like, you know, I'm doing a kitchen, so I took a bigger deposit there because I get all the cabinets covered. I like push that over to a separate account because I don't want the false security of thinking like, yeah, I got an extra, you know, 35 grand in the bank, where that's not my 35 grand.
Exactly. Yeah, we just open up another account.
Yeah. So I think for me, doing everything myself and billing this, that, and the other thing, trying to make all my customers happy, I'm failing at a lot of things. Jobs may look good, head doesn't look good. So I want to put some things into place that just like I can breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
That I'm not literally killing myself.
You just brought up a thing about billing. I mean, Nick, you're using Build a Trend in QuickBooks, right? Still?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we're doing the cost to complete through Build a Trend now, which is huge. Where everything's a PO. You make everything as a PO, and then you can basically, as you invoice. Yeah. Any single, whether it's a vendor, Windows, whatever that budget line item is.
Yep.
Then it talks to QuickBooks. Not that QuickBooks gonna be a sponsor, but dude, they've been super shady over the last. Like, we do payments through QuickBooks if people wanna.
Yeah.
We do wires, we do all that, but a lot of clients is one click and they'll go right through QuickBooks, and we've paid the extra fee to get that transaction like 24 hours, whatever it was. Because in the beginning, a couple years ago, it was like, oh, we're gonna look that over. It's gonna take a week. And QuickBooks would actually
Nick,
have
didn't
that
you
money
run
through.
into an issue with that?
Yeah, but lately we just did it, and it's like we got $90,000 sent over, like in $49,000 increments,
which drives me absolutely bananas.
Yeah, and some of our clients, like, they think that they clicked the pay button, and they think that they paid the whole thing,
right?
And it's only $49,000. But then QuickBooks is like, hey, we're thinking this is fraud. Can you send us the contract? And we're not going to release the funds until we get the contract. And I was like, I get the emails as well as the accountant, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
They held like $194,000 for a week and a half.
Wow.
It's like, so what are you doing with that money, QuickBooks?
I had a similar situation, but I forget what it was. I forget what it was.
I think that they owed you a ton of money, and they put like a hold on it.
Yeah,
they did, and I don't remember. Yeah,
it was significant.
Your account. It was like over 100,000, and I forget why they froze it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, they didn't give us a reason.
But I think that was before you had your line of credit, so that was like the issue that you were running into.
Something. Yeah. I haven't had issues recently. Knock on wood.
This is like Christmas. Like, we got paid from a bunch of people at a certain time.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's hold on to this. And we were like, maybe it was right before Christmas. Maybe it was like end of November.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we got it sorted out. And then we got another payment in from somebody else. And it was like, yeah, we need to review this. And it was like, what do you need to review?
Yeah,
like, why do you need our contract?
I remember there being something specific that we worked through, and like, and I honestly, I can't have any value.
I think they're taking it, and then they're just they're buying stocks for 4 days, selling it, and then
selling it.
Hey, that's smart. Overnight, So
you're gonna start taking deposits, put them in an interest-bearing account,
make negative money.
Yeah, but the billing thing, the PO and cost to complete, that's huge, because it lets you know.
It's instead of making a spreadsheet while you're billing, it's just another step.
Oh, you can go in and you'd be like, oh, we've paid. We still owe another $1,000 to that guy. It's like,
but for the client end of it, like, we've been doing cost to completes as a separate spreadsheet,
right?
That you have to physically input, which is Ben.
Yeah, we're not utilizing all the financial stuff to its max, but each and every job we do more and more, which has been great. Like,
Benny's dialing it in.
Our scheduling, like Brian, who joined us 8 months ago.
Yo, Brian. What's up, dude?
I was like, hey, he definitely listens. Yeah, hey, Brian.
What's up, B?
But
Brian.
He dug into the scheduling.
Boris Brian.
We'll get him on. But he dug into the schedule. Like, I was like, hey, I want you to really spend the next 4 days learning everything you know about the schedule. And he's building the schedules they're just awesome. It's like he's got everything in there linked to to-dos. We know when submittals are due. We're working with architects that more and more submittals and formal approval process, and it just dialed in, and it's nice to see that.
Yeah.
Where it's like and then we take that and template it, and then the next job it's just a template. You input it, you adjust it for that job, and it's like done. And
one of the best things about the daily log is that you can, from my point of view, I can see what we have it broken down to. Like, I want to know how many people are on each job. Like,
same.
For instance, cost plus. It's like I want to know how many framers were there. What were they working on? If there were dumpsters getting swapped. It's more of, for us, even though the client sees it, it helps because it's transparent.
But like for you, right?
That's
like,
all through Builder Trend too.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice? Like, don't you feel like, I still want to be on site, but there's still this sense of relief when it's like, when I didn't get to site and be able to pop in and look at what got done. It's like, maybe I'm not relieved because I was like, they should have got more done, but at the same time, it's like, it's nice to be like, all right, yep, they got where they needed to be. And like,
well, the craziest thing, what I was trying to get at, and I got sidetracked, was that I like to be able to see what it says that day. But if you keep scrolling, it'll give you that tidbit of what's supposed to be getting done in the schedule that you've put on that Builder Trend. And it's like, the relief comes when they line up.
Yeah.
Or if they're a little early. It's like, roof got dropped, like literally flying steel, and we try and break it down where this is our journal. Like, I'm trying to take our notebooks that I carry around, and that becomes the daily log for all of our employees.
Yeah.
And that way, if let's say if it is cost plus and the framer's billing out at 6 guys for the last week, I can go back into that daily log and go, all right, well, you had 3 guys this day, and this is what they did. Here's the photos of what they did.
Right.
And so it's a 2-for-1. It is that, my notebook.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like we do the same thing. We track every sub on site, how many guys are on site, what employees visited the site. Like, I log in and they'll collect my name off if I stop by. I'm like, you guys are fucking catching everything. It's like Nick was there for 37 minutes, told us to rip something out, and then left and did a story.
I haven't storying anything. I'm trying to get back where I'm going to.
I've been in the office like
in the morning, and then
everything has been business and planning, and we have 3 committed new construction and 1 that we're working on.
Congrats, dude.
I know. And it's like, so all my time is like basically into that right now for the next few weeks. And waiting for this baby.
Does Builder Trend have like multiple levels of?
Yeah.
I should look into it if I'm gonna like go this route. Honestly, I feel like it. I made up spreadsheets now, but like I feel like they're, even for my customer, like it'd be nice to have them just to like see it. If they want to every day.
The log. The only thing I don't love is that when you put photos in the daily log, they don't populate the general album. When you go to if you were to go to your client's homepage and it has like the little emblem on the left.
Oh, yeah.
And it has that big album in the middle.
Yeah.
It won't populate that. So it has almost like this, they should go to both. Mm-hmm. That's what Benny's talking to them about, is like, if you put in, like, we make it mandatory that there's at least 3 photos. Mm-hmm. Find 3 fucking things that happened today.
Right.
Like, I don't care what it is. And it's that's what we've talked about. And honestly, I love the fact that, we're 2 weeks in from having this new guy for Benny, and Benny's able to do 3 days a week straight on admin and CFO stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's such a relief.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the call with the accountant and Ben, and they're like, well, we'll CC you on that. And I'm like, you know what? You can just take me off of that. Take me off of everything unless it's important. Like, I don't want to be. It's like,
I don't want to see my orange juice bill this month.
Yeah, it's like, that's a personal card. But it's just like, why? Like this, I want Benny's an owner.
Right.
I see everything. I can see everything in accounting. I see everything that comes through, and it's just like that's a heavy. The amount of crap that I skim through on a daily basis. We're like, I saw that. What was that? And then you hit a job site, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. So I think, like I said before, I think 3 years. I think we'll have my house done in the next year. My 3-year plan would be moving into a custom home that we build. But 3 years, I think, is
person, like meaning selling personally. What you're in.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then
see, that's what that it's the same thing with Malden. It's like here, we're considering. My wife's gonna kill me for saying this on air. We're considering selling, and we may have had someone that was interested in off market. So now it's like, all right, let me know if they put an offer in, and I'll finish the work.
Yeah.
It's like the baseboard, and she's like, you got to put that in. I'm like, I will once we have the offer. It's like, I'm not, I don't need to do it now.
Yeah.
Like,
I got time.
Yeah. And
the beauty there is, in a way, you do have enough people that you could nowadays put a couple guys there and make it go away.
But it's like, what drives me crazy? It's like, I kind of want to retile the shower if he's going to buy it. She's like, what? I'm like, it's just not the NS standard. Talk. She's like, it was the NS standard.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's evolved.
It wasn't then either, but hey, that's all right.
No, it was literally the
me.
NS.
Yeah, it was me. It was like, yeah, I'll cock that. That's fine.
Just
now
NS
it's like, if any
builders.
of my guys did it, I would ruin them.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it's the same. We have similar goals. Is that we'd like to sell. I don't think we'll be in a custom home that we build that quickly. I think we'll take some time to do maybe another investment or a multi.
I literally want to even buy the land. The property's available.
Yeah, if we find land, like it's funny. There's a lot in Southie. It's a big lot, and she's like, let's buy that and build like a big house on it. And I'm like, it's just it doesn't.
But you could physically, like, I'm trying to understand it right now. Is you could physically buy that. Let's say it's under the company and write that off compared to the profits that you have, and that could be you could land bank it. And
I don't think the business isn't in a position to do that. Not this year.
I'm just saying, but that's like there's a way to leverage.
Oh
that,
yeah, for sure.
Where it's like that's what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, how would I do that? So that way in 3 years that land's not gone.
Right.
And then you're like, well, that little dream just was a puff of smoke because I love this lot.
Yeah.
But it's.
Is it in Wellesley?
No, it's in Dover. So it's a town away.
Nice.
3 acres.
Oh, that's awesome.
Quiet
Is it on the
road.
market?
Yeah.
How much property do you have now?
I bet I walked it if it's on the market.
What's that?
How much property do you have now?
We have an acre.
Not gonna lie, we looked at a place up in upstate New York this weekend. It was 250 acres.
Damn, you're gonna need a bigger tractor.
It's like, this is kind of perfect. It's all woods.
There's like a dirt bike.
I know. There's like
coffee
4,
shop.
dude. There's 4 ponds on it.
So
one is a 3/4 acre like swimming pond that's aerated.
Dude, have you? I said this to Tara the other day. I'm like, why wouldn't we buy land like that and leverage your brand? Like, imagine if you made like a Airbnb.
Dude, I thought
that's what Meg wants to do in New Hampshire.
That or just starting a cult. Like, they would pay everyone.
Both.
The cults,
both.
they all give you their money. So you buy it. Everyone from the cult just gives you all their money. And then once it's paid for, just kick everyone out. Be like, all right, just kidding. Not really a cult.
Just building houses. That's what Meg wants to do in New Hampshire. She was like, we only have 3 acres up there. But she's like, why don't we build just a bunch of different little houses and rent them all out?
I want to do Stowe, Vermont.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, dude. So this is very close to the ski resorts. There's a 1,500 square foot house on it that is like fully conditioned, full like year-round living. It's small though. Then there's a garage that I guess whoever owns it. There's only been 2 owners in like 65 years, and there's a full garage, and the upstairs of the garage was converted to what appears to be like a unit that somebody could come do turnover, stay there. There's like a bathroom and it's conditioned, and then there's a 1-car garage just for storage, and then like a bunch of other little outbuildings. But it's dope. It's all woods, a bunch of ponds, one of them stocked with like bass. But you could definitely build like a ton of little places on it.
And then you market it as TRG, in your execution where people can't get that.
Yeah.
They could go experience it for a long weekend and absolutely love it. And it's furnished by our house or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can cross-pollinate brands and kill it. And that's where my mind's at, where it's like, let's grab some land in Stowe. Stowe is, have you looked it up? Look up Stowe, Vermont, and take off the price point. And just, it's like, oh, $550. Take it off. My son's done it, my 9-year-old. And he's like, Dad, check this out.
Huge.
Dude, there is some, but not so much the houses,
money up
but
there.
like the views.
Yeah.
Like what you're getting for that money is amazing.
Right.
But B, it's like, who just grabbed that and then put that on there, that property? It is breathtaking.
Dude, it's like so we're in Guilford, and across, like right down the street from us is this place called Governor's Island. You go over a little bridge, and it's just, and all the, like, you drive around the street. The street's probably, I would say it averages like 50 foot above water. Mm-hmm. But then the houses are on the water, so you're at like gutter line of the house when you're driving by them. So on the water, they're beautiful, but they're all like 10 to like $30 million homes. And I'm driving down the street because I just want to see them, and I'm like, all I'm looking at is roof line, and it's like I'm like boat, I have to like look down the hill to see this like awesome house.
Dude, paddleboard.
But it's we
paddleboard. Take your time.
We rented a boat and went around it to look at all of them, but. It's like crazy to think that whole, it's just all insane homes, like insane money, big money.
But I just think that's amazing. It's just, how can you make it small and cozy and just like huge windows to just like bring you inside out? Like, honestly, I would want to build shacks as if I would want to get away.
Yeah.
You know, and then, put your name on it, and then people go get to live that experience. And it's not like you're taking on too much that you can't hammer it out,
Right. I just texted you the pictures.
Yeah, we're all looking at it.
From like walking around. Yeah, there's like one parcel that's 150 acres, and then one that's 70.
Is that your rental?
Something? No, that's our new car.
Oh, you got a car?
Yeah.
Is that a car?
It's wagon.
Wagon. That's amazing.
I could skate on that pond.
Yeah, dude. There's 4. There's literally 4 of them.
Yeah, but that frozen.
So what's the deal?
What do you mean?
Like, are you considering it still?
Well, no, it was like, so her parents have the house up there, so that's like a half hour from there. So one of the places that we would consider would be that area. The tough thing there is schools. New York still, like, taxes aren't amazing there. The school district isn't amazing, and then work for Rachel would be tough just because, like, the biggest city is Albany. So there's not too much. I could stay busy up there because there's a lot of like vacation homes in that area. And there's, especially now, there's like an influx of money from New York City going to that area. So it would be somewhat of a lateral move for us financially, which like doesn't solve big picture.
Yeah.
But I mean, 250 acres. I think it's listed for $799.
Wow.
So I mean, it's for where it is. There's not a lot around it that sells for that much, but there's not a lot of 250 acre properties also. Right. But it was like when we went and looked, I was like, yo, if somebody said you could just like snap your fingers and your life where you are now could change to up here and it'd be like a swap, I would be like, all right, yeah, definitely done. Yeah. Do it right now. But it's, I don't know. It would be amazing. But we're not, honestly, timing's not right now. Like, yeah. We're not ready. We can't make anything happen that fast. I have a year of work at any given time. I think it'll go before then anyway. It's like,
if it doesn't, or if it does, what's it going to be?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. I could get stressed out about stuff like that, but when it's that big of a decision, I'm like, it's gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen. If I force something, that's the type of stuff where you force it and it doesn't work out, and you're like, I should just kill myself. Bad joke.
I think we've all been there the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, but it's like I'll force things that are small where like the repercussions could be mild, but you force something like that and there's a bad outcome, you're like, yeah, I could kick myself right now. So I usually let them kind of.
I feel like Nick's the opposite way. He's listening to this going, no, I just keep forcing it and it keeps working.
I don't force things that working. I don't force things that big because like I'm very hard on myself and on my decisions. So if something like a life-changing decision, if I were to force it and not let it play out, if it went well, that'd be amazing. But my luck is terrible, so the chances are that it wouldn't go well. And I would really kick myself. So
dude, I remember when you bought the place you're in now.
Yeah. It's crazy. We were just talking about that with her parents because we like had this conversation with them. She's an only child, you know, what we're kind of thinking. So that was a big conversation. But we'll see what happens. I would love to stay where we are if, you know, I had a little bit more free time and could actually enjoy what we have. But right now, there's not much enjoyment. It's just going through the motions, and that's not that much fun for anyone. No. What you doing? Fixing your mic? Oh, it broke. John's just doing
he's talking into a mic that isn't plugged in.
He's doing AV work.
Awesome. I'm back. Sorry. I always fiddle with this thing and then it finally fell off.
Man,
at least I'm not alone. I think this is going to be the only podcast that we're legit talking between the three of us.
Yeah,
I know we do a podcast, but like honestly, this is what happens when the mic turns off at the end of every podcast.
Yeah,
this is us.
Doug's gonna be like, "So where do I cut?"
Yeah. No, I it's this. I think that all of this kind of coincides with the new year. But I want to make sure that everyone knows this is not like New Year's resolutions talking. This is
it's funny.
life towards the end of the year really hit pretty hard. And
I feel like it became like I had a similar thought. It's like I'm writing all these goals down. It's like what? I'm not trying to make a resolution, but it's just an opportunity that I think we just get. This is where when we get to reflect, we take time off. We're with our family.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't slow down long enough to like really gauge what's going on with my life.
And I literally but I kept writing in my notebook. I didn't actually do nothing until after New Year's. And it's like I had like 3 days where one day I finally just sat on the couch with my kids and watched. I don't even know what I watched. Like cartoons for 14 hours with them.
Yeah.
And it's I'm out cold. My kid will put a movie on and they're like, "You're out again?" Now the dog just literally pounces on my face and licks it, and I'm like, "I'm up," because they won't stop her. So
that's fine.
Yeah, same thing with me. I ended up going back to work right after the holiday to try and wrap some things up so that I could like clear my mind, and things continued to get somewhat worse. And I was like, I came home and I told Rachel, I was like, I can't go away. I can't take any time off. This much stuff ahead of me. You know, taxes are like it's the end of season. You're paying like your prepayment for the next year, and then you're going to owe money for taxes. Insurance if you made more money, everything's hitting at once. I have like a bunch of jobs for return customers, so I never really like took any deposits for anything. So it's like I need to get billing done so I can get money in the account. And I was like, I just can't go away. And then she's like if you don't go away, I'm probably going to tell you that I'm divorcing you. Like, you're going away. You need to take time off. You were sick. And pretty much hogtied me, threw me in the car. I cursed my way through like 2.5 hours of the car trip while the girls were in the back seat with their iPads on. And Tilly's funny. Selby is like she's like more like my wife, so she gets real concerned if I yell or get upset. And Tilly usually laughs, or she'll be like, "Yo, Dad, calm down. It's okay." And like tries to play mediator. And then like once I cool down, she'll seriously just like keep laughing. And I was like, "Yo, like, Selb, did I upset you? Were you upset when I yelled in the car? And she's like, a little, but it wasn't that bad. And I was like, Tilly, did I like upset you or scare you or anything? And she's like, no. I was like, all right. She doesn't care at all. So I got to the lake. I worked that night. Like, we got up there late. I worked. Next day, woke up, did like 6 hours worth of paperwork, and then I guess like got enough off my plate that my body and mind were just like, screw it.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I was far enough disconnected from it and got enough off my plate that I said, screw it. I'm not getting the cabinet order in. I don't care if I'm not going to get like the extra 3% back. Like, it's not worth the money. I'm not picking up my computer. I'm not getting the emails. And finally took from like right before the new year until today.
Is there a better day between you guys of the week? You know how you just said that you're able to kind of disconnect a little bit? I'm trying to figure out what day is my best day, where for some reason the load isn't quite as heavy, where the burden of the projects, to be honest with you, it's probably like midday Fridays where I feel the most comfortable, where it's like,
yeah,
right,
lunchtime
tonight,
Friday.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's checked out. Your email stopped. Like, people stop emailing. It's and I generally don't schedule a lot on Fridays. I try to get everything else done the rest of the week, so Friday I can bounce around to the jobs or kind of just do whatever I want.
I think my goal is to take Fridays off coming springtime.
Yeah.
I think
it's doable. Like, why wouldn't
it is? Doable. Yeah, I always tell myself, like, you know what, maybe I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. Kind of defeats the purpose though, but 4 10-hour days and then having a day where I could like put in the office, but then I'm like, all right, I'm still working.
You're doing
more.
Yeah.
Like, right.
You're doing
like,
it now
working
anyway.
from home is not. Yeah.
But like, I'd like to. We've talked about like staying in New Hampshire, or when we could travel. We were talking about renting out New Hampshire and her going down to see her dad in Florida or something, and I could work remotely, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then come back.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm 3 years out. Because there's certain times where I've gone away, and I think it was probably this time last year. I was in New Hampshire, and I was like, I could do this from here. I was sitting on like the love seat with my laptop on like the footrest, and I was like, I'm running stuff from here. Look at this. Like,
right.
Tough, like rolling my shoulders, like tough guy. Like, look at this, I'm running stuff. Like,
where's the hot tub? Going in the hot tub.
Yeah, like I can see stuff on cameras. I know what's going on.
Yeah, and then something goes bad, and you're like
2 days later,
I need to be home.
Like, I'm heading back. Yeah, exactly. But it's like there's this.
But that's what I mean. It's like, I think if Monday, Friday, that's why I feel like the Monday, Friday could work.
Yeah. But even still, I think if you're striving for that goal again, lying to ourselves, is that, hey, if I could put,
you're going to make up for it somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's like I could probably get to a point where Fridays are doable. I could start with that, this upcoming season. I could start with that because I'm again, you guys have your kids a little younger, but like they're on their way out, man. Once they go to college, those days of me being able to hang out with them and do Legos is like, I feel like there is that ticking time clock where I'm like, I'm going to regret this. Yeah. When they do go to college, the both of them, I'm going to be like, what did you do? Like I said to you before, like I probably wasn't the best boyfriend in the beginning. I probably wasn't the best dog owner the first time around, or the best parent for the first 5 years, or best podcast host for the first 3 years. But like, how do you like realize it? We have one life. We're not going to be great at it. And I think we do a great job of it on the podcast by talking to other people and letting them influence our lives and see their perspective and let that marinate, every Tuesday night for us, where it's like, oh man, dude, totally got a point. Like even Adam last week, totally not what we do, but it's definitely, there's a similarity about how he executes his craft, but how he thought about how he's going to navigate his life.
Yeah.
And what he wanted. And it's like, what do I want? How am I going to get to that goal? Like dude, for me over the holidays, I was like, I'm just gonna tell my wife, don't expect me at all to be at all in this for the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I need 6 months of just straight hammering to be able to get where I'm comfortable, where I want to be, and it's doable. Or if you want to take a little bit more time, then it will take a year. So what would you rather have? Me none of the time for the next 6 months, or 50-50?
It's just tough because I feel like oftentimes when we get to that 6 month mark, or when you kind of come up on that timeline or those time constraints that you've set for yourself, that either there's some sort of new issue you're dealing with, or you're just like, hey, you know what, I could squeeze this extra bit in here. It's so tough because I feel like so much of what we do,
we never check it. It's like when I said the first time I bought the house, like 3 years I'll be out.
Yeah.
I didn't keep track.
I just don't know if it's 6 months, anything, if it's 6 months, if you make your life that much easier in 6 months, you're just putting other stuff in that place where you freed yourself up. I can get more
those
done.
6 months, what do I lose?
Yeah.
With my family. I'm with you.
That's where I kind of stand right now, where I'm fine with working a lot. I'm fine with being out of the house a lot. I'm fine with working late nights, weekends. I don't work, but like I would be fine with working weekends. It has to be on my terms now.
Right.
Like it has to be on my terms. It can't be because a customer wants me out of their house. It can't be because I didn't bid the job correctly. Like that's when it's not worth it to me. If it's on my terms and I'm making money and there's like some sort of offset or perk to this, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the sacrifices as long as there's something positive coming from it. I'm not okay with the sacrifices to make everyone else happy and like my family take the hit or me take the hit or my daughters not see me.
You know what I think's great about your new system that you're going to have is that I think that you do price things out, and however I find that, like, I had a client say to me, you should increase your margins, and it's like a huge job I'm on, and I'm like, so is that prorated? Can I go back on your job and jump it 10%? Like, but for you, I do throughout these phone calls and talks is that I feel like when I price stuff out, you can't adjust those really for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously my overhead and profits locked in. You can't go like, hey, by the way, we jumped it to 22%. Just like send that off as an email notification to all your clients. You can't. But what I love about what you're going to do about this cost plus is that, let's say someone did come along that has a ton of experience and passion that matches you. You could then put them on that job and bill for them and not have any burden on you that you have a loss that you need to then work later because you need to make off the offset of that. Mm-hmm. And that could be the turning point for TRG and you to give you the more time is that, hey, instead of me squeezing out, XYZ, that's what we talked about a couple podcasts ago where I said it incorrectly, was like, maybe if I spend more money on somebody, the responsibility would be higher. Yeah. And Nick shook his head no, but if I had the budget there to offset that and manipulate it and move it around, that gives me the comfort level to try it out. Yeah. And right now, or 6 months ago, I didn't have that option. And same with you, Tyler.
Yeah. I think that there's hopefully it works out and I'm able to sustain it, just because I think that it's going to be a big thing to not feel like I have to squeeze 12 hours into an 8-hour day.
Dude, you're squeezing 2 years into a year. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's not how I should be making money. Like you shouldn't be making money just by doubling up your hours,
shouldn't be how you're living, dude.
Yeah. And I just
I'm saying like I said, out loud so I hear it myself.
Right. A lot of this all came to a head right now, and I even like sitting at home and seeing the girls not being able to go to school. And like yesterday I'm home and I'm looking at Selby sitting in front of her computer and she's like writing stuff, and then she turns it and faces the screen and she's just like She's doing what she has to do. I know that she's just longing so much for that actual social interaction with her friends. Like, that's what she needs. And I'm thinking about COVID and how, like, this has affected Tilly's not the type of personality, and she never really was in school, so she doesn't know anything different. She's fine. Selby has, like, this has been not seeing friends and not interacting with her teacher. You know, we told her she may not be able to go back. At some point, they may go full virtual, and she started crying because she said she won't be able to see her teacher. And, like, I've never known that for myself. Like, if I'd never wanted to be in school, even from being little. But seeing how much she's struggling with this and watching this and thinking that this all started in March or April of last year, and I haven't been able to be there for her, or I haven't been able to, like, help her or take a day off and sit on her Zoom calls with her. Like, I can't do that. And I'm just like, I need to be able to. Like,
100%.
I don't have that luxury, but what's important is me making sure that my daughter is okay. That should be a way bigger priority than me making sure my customers are happy. No matter what, it should be. Like, that's at the end of the day, that's what's more important. For sure. And but my system is so far from that.
But we just think that, hey, the life that we have is due to the clients we have.
Yep.
That's how we reconcile it. At least that's what I do. It's like, all right, I need to do this, this, and this, and not slow things down. That's why I partially fund things, because I don't want my subs to be burdened with not getting paid because so-and-so is taking their time to review a quote or proposal. It's like, all right, the burden is, it's tough to describe.
It's all nuts, but I want to make some changes so that it's not so much, and it can be on me. I don't want it to be on them. So I, a lot of the changes that I'm looking to make or potentially make are definitely bigger picture changes and have a lot to do with other people in my life who are close to me, who are important to me. It's COVID has definitely reaffirmed who's important in my life as well. Who I can live with and who I can't live without. And, like, I have a very small circle. Obviously, you guys are in that circle. But it's definitely reaffirmed what and who is very important to me. And I've lost a lot of patience for the relation. Hearts. I've lost.
I did the heart.
I've lost a lot of patience for people that were kind of always on the fritz there. I want to focus my effort more towards the relationships in my life and the people in my life, not the customers in my life. And if the customers are friends of mine, cool. But I think there's a lot more. The relationships in our lives shouldn't just be work relationships.
Totally agree, man.
I'm with you.
So we'll see what happens.
It's a good start to the year.
Yeah, New Year's resolutions.
There you go.
Oh man, I did a lot of not sleeping on this break. I was like waking up, not being able to sleep. Just be like, all right.
Like I said, I think it's just there between the holiday and just the year in general. There was massive amount of opportunity to reflect, and it sounds like you did. And though the year, I think everyone talked about, we're so busy, we have so much work, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Tyler, is that that didn't make our life easy. And yes, people are out of their jobs and and lost their businesses and probably in much more dire or worse position financially than many of us in the building industry, but it was incredibly stressful, and I think it weighed in a completely different way.
It took its toll in a weird way.
Yeah,
I think it didn't add up. You were kind of
busy, but
mode.
but judged, and it was like constant, like being ridiculed. It was
clients could still get their Amazon stuff, still go to the grocery store, still do the things that to them seem normal. So why isn't it normal for you to do your job?
Right.
Yep. No, I think it took a huge. I don't think that the financial benefit of it was that much. I think that it created a lot more work, and we were never able to let off the gas, and I think that it took a huge physical and mental toll on me, and I didn't realize it until basically I almost died, where I was like, all right, this year is coming to a close and things need to change.
Right. Well, next week.
It's crazy that we all had the same thoughts. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's kind of nuts to me that, like, my wife and I had a massive conversation, like, a week and a half ago. And it's just like, am I the only one?
No.
And then we do this podcast, and it's like, yeah. Where I was literally like, I'll go get a job. What do you want me to do? Name it. Because it's like she's going to go back to work, and I'm like, you're not doing that.
It's funny. Meg was
You're
like,
not going back to what you were doing.
I think it was after one of the podcasts. She goes, so I had a thought. I was like, what's up? She goes, what if you reach out to that guy in Australia that you like, and we move there and you work for him for 2 years? I was like, that's a thought.
That's not a bad one, actually.
That's
pretty solid.
I was
tough
like,
to get from A to Z on that one.
I was like, that. I don't know where that came from, but Australia's pretty nice. But I heard, and I think it was it on this? Yeah. Oh, it was with Ellie. And I was like, apparently there's a bunch of dangerous animals down there. Yeah. She looked at me. She goes, yeah. I'm like, why does everyone know that except for me? I was like,
I didn't like it in Arizona.
Huh?
I wasn't a fan of Arizona.
And stuff.
Yeah, snakes and.
Oh, I hate snakes.
Right in. Yeah, I was. You just flinched.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Arizona.
I'm gonna get tagged in a bunch of snake photos now.
Australia's dangerous.
But I was like, I kind of like that.
So if COVID lets up, where do you guys go first? Like if you can travel, yeah. What's your first getaway?
I don't know.
Oh man, that's.
I'm
tough.
I'm definitely going out to Newport Beach. I want to go.
Yeah.
Hang out with Patterson. We're definitely going to Australia. My coach is down in Australia, so they do like a yearly thing, so probably schedule it around that. So it's a reason to go for business.
To write off, yeah.
Yeah, and spend another week with her and check out some architecture and stuff.
I think Rachel and I, her birthday's May 6th, so we had a trip with just the two of us planned to go to Mexico City. That got canceled because of COVID and just worked. So maybe rebook that trip. I'd like to get back out to LA. I have one more sitting on my back.
Jeez. Hey, is that like your stress relief? Like, do you zone out? Like when people get massages, is that your massage?
The back hurts, dude.
I believe it, but like tattoo in general.
Some of them, yeah. Before, like, I don't know. At this point, I have really only terrible spots left, like spots that you don't want to get done. So there's not really that much fun about it. Like when I got my arms done, it doesn't really hurt. That wasn't bad. The back is. There's not really that much to zone out and enjoy, but terrible. Back of your thighs, terrible. It's all really bad on your back. So this would not be the one. But it is nice going to travel and like getting away, and it's fun. But I do have one more sitting to complete my back, so I probably want to get out to California.
Where you going, John?
I don't have an idea. I'm
No?
just asking you guys. Yeah.
No?
We were supposed to go to Red Rock last summer to see the Revivalist, but they rescheduled for this year, so we'll end up heading out there if it's let up by then, hopefully.
When is it going to be?
July, I think.
July.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You might be good.
Red Rocks is cool.
Never been.
Yeah, you should head.
Always on the list.
You should head into the mountains afterwards.
Yeah.
Like continue west. Denver's really cool city, great weather, but like Colorado until you get to the mountains is basically just like high desert, super dry, like doesn't rain, doesn't snow. There's a lot of sunshine, but it's like kind of dry and brown. Once you get into the mountains, it's pretty sweet.
You know who else I want to go visit is Ben in Joshua Tree.
Oh yeah, that's sweet.
That'd be. I'd like to go check out his compound.
Yeah. Palm Springs is really cool.
Bend, Palm Springs, yeah, that place.
Yeah,
is cool.
Palm Springs is sweet.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
Yeah,
we drove from there to L.A.
Yeah, that's not a bad drive. Have you been to Tahoe?
No.
Tahoe's freaking amazing. That's like, we were actually just looking through our honeymoon pictures, and we went from San Francisco north up to Seattle and went through like Oregon.
Oh, nice.
Portland, Northern California, Oregon, up to Seattle, Washington State. But Tahoe was like one of the most incredible places I've been. I remember, I'm not like a huge believer in God, this and that. And one guy, I'll never forget, we drove in at night, and you like kind of get the mass of what's going on, because it's just like these huge shadows and the trees and like, but it was dark. So when we like dark checked into the hotel, woke up the next morning, and like when you wake up to that and like being on Lake Tahoe, it was like, holy crap, like this is our country, like this is unreal.
Yeah.
But then like driving through Tahoe, and some guy was like, "Oh, your first time here?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "This is God's country," and I was like, "Kinda is." I don't really even believe in God. Like Crater Lake in Oregon, it's pretty unreal out there. I could spend a lot of time out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So maybe that's where John will go.
I think John's gonna follow us, or we'll travel together.
Yeah. Maybe we're going to do a guys' weekend up in New Hampshire. I'll meet you guys up there. We'll stay at Nick's place. He's got it all heated now.
Yeah.
I saw that story.
I just checked. 66 degrees still. Not
Damn.
Now, I was like, do you put that story on NS Builders, or do you put it on Nick Schiffer?
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's what my mind was just like, what do clients see with that? Like, I can't look at anything anymore without my mind
part of me doesn't care.
Different directions. No, I know, but
Did I tell you that so I had left the water on. I had been leaving the water on, and I drove up there, and
sounds like a mistake.
Well, it wasn't cold enough where I thought it would be an issue. And I got there, I was going to go up there Friday night, stay the night, light the wood stove, warm it up, and then the guys get there, help me put the mini split in on Saturday morning. And I said, you know what, I'm just tired. I'm going to go sleep. I'll wake up early, drive up. I drive up. I get there. I get out of my truck. I'm like, yep, there's definitely something flooding my house right now. I open the door, and, dude, based on the amount of water, it couldn't have been going for more than 30 minutes. And I was like, son of a bitch. Like, if I just came up last night, that would have never happened.
Something was telling you to go up.
Yeah, and I know it. But so, and then the heat, awesome. Like, I mean, it's a log cabin, so it doesn't stay that warm, but it's super comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to shut the water off anyway. And
I'm going to put in that little remote that I can do on my phone and shut it off.
Well, I thought you could hook up the mini splits to the Wi-Fi. You got to get it's called Kumo Cloud. So I got it.
Well, I was saying like they have like that little water shut off. It senses when there's too much.
This guy built this house in 1985. It's something. But we went up.
Got character.
No issues. So I've been leaving the water on, no issues. And my brother goes up there last week and he goes, "Hey, we don't have any water." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Frozen.
And he's like, "There's no water anywhere." Like, I'm like, "Well, you have to have hot water." He goes, "Well, we had hot water, but then it ran out." I'm like, "Then go shut the hot water tank off before that thing fries, and it's got to be the well, but the well has that the whatever it's called, basically lets the water drain back all the way to the wellhead so it doesn't freeze. And for whatever reason, I think it was so late at night that they were using it when it just snapped enough to freeze. Like the cold snap went underneath the house and froze the well line. So he was under there with a hairdryer and he goes, "We're all set." I'm like,
oh,
all right.
God.
So I'm like, now I got to heat trace that. But
it's like the one time I was working on my customer's basement and the cleaners were there, and I was like, damn, they really have the freaking utility sink running right now. And then I was like, wait, they don't have a utility sink. So I like run upstairs, and the fitting on the hot water line on the rubber hose from the washer had just like completely sheared off. Nobody had done anything. And like the cleaning people were upstairs, and I like ran up immediately and shut it down. But I was like, could you imagine if nobody was there? And like the whole first floor's hardwoods. It's like if that entire, it's like a 1/2-inch water line that's just full bore hot water.
Yep.
Could you imagine how bad that would have been? I was like, damn, they're really running some water. And then I was like, yeah, they don't have a utility sink. Better run upstairs. Shit scares me.
All right, guys. Well, next week we have Casey Nips.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I didn't realize that.
So he's a co-owner of a cooperative. Which is cool.
Yeah.
I actually never knew the name of his company, Terra Firma Building and Remodeling. So
I like Casey. His wife's awesome too. You guys know his wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
They're
works
good
for
people.
Cambria.
Ellie, Cambria, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll dig into that.
Yeah, that's exciting. He's a super talented carpenter.
Yeah.
I love seeing his stuff. It's like so clean. And he's a giant.
Yeah.
He's huge. He told me, I think he texted me that he was like 300 pounds at some point when he was playing football. I was like, damn, you are way bigger. He's like, yeah, I'm way smaller than I ever have been. It's like, I can't imagine, because every time I meet you, you like make me look miniature.
And you're
Welcome to my life.
Damn,
yeah, he
John.
probably is like twice your size.
He's like 2 of me.
You're at his belt.
But he's a teddy
All right,
bear.
guys.
All right. Well, this podcast is brought to you by Duration Moulding and Millwork. Too cold to install siding properly? Yes, that's true with most products, not with Duration, because cuts and rips of Duration don't need to be primed, painted, or otherwise sealed. You can install their siding right through the winter months, no problem. No need to worry about any clearance issues, either from grade, roofs, patios, or even other boards. To learn more about Duration Poly Ash products, please visit their website at durationmillwork.com.